Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. We have entered the month of October. Tuesday, October 1st, Jocks 94.5. How you doing today, Greg?
Doing well, pal. How are you?
I've been better. Have
You got Bama this week and a driver.
do have Bama
And a drivable.
and a drivable. I would need a vehicle, though, to drive.
You should go to Royal.
I do. Well, they would help me, but it's mine is still at a valet.
That's nice. That's a pretty big tip.
Valet or valet?
There will be no tip this time.
The airport valet is really dialed in.
Do we just do this now?
I don't know the story, so I'm not sure how appropriate it is for the 7:01 hour.
I mean, we could leave them anonymous, but people may know now.
Well, I mean, I think they'll figure it out, but I didn't say anybody's name.
Yeah.
I get a text message while I was in coaches meetings with the Texas coaches. My wife says, I need to talk to you about your car, which is just a really weird text coming from your wife. Just kind of strange.
Yeah, very strange.
Especially at that moment. We had spoken maybe an hour earlier. And so, like, right in between coaches, I said, I got to see what this is. This is just not normal. My wife, who has an online clothing store, Too Sweet Boutique, if you want to check that out.
Ooh.
Received a message from a pleasant young lady who shops at her store with a photograph of my car keys with the valet tag attached to them that she found in her vehicle in the cup holder upon picking up her car from said valet.
Whoops.
Don't know this lady. Never met this lady. Very appreciative of said lady. And now we got a problem. So, car at valet.
Now is when we have the problem. Just making sure.
Well,
this is when the problem started.
So this nice lady, she dropped off the keys at our house in the mailbox. Thank you so much. And I forgot about this until, first off, it feels like it's been 11 days since I've been home. So forgive me. I forgot about this. I was literally
Why do you love being on the road so much?
It's just the best.
Because BHM Airport has added new vending machines?
Specifically the
licorice vending machine?
The 10p Uber home last night. That's good.
I could have picked you. I got to the airport at 9. I could have stayed for you.
I didn't know you were flying home last night. I would have asked. Trust me.
I mean, I would have been there. I would have had to wait 10 minutes. It would not have been a problem.
So
you should have texted the kid.
So I forgot until late last night. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't have my car keys, which technically is not my problem.
Correct, right? You could have easily gone to the valet. Hey, man, I'm ready to go home.
Now, here's what I think might be the good news. If my keys are in someone else's cup holder, maybe it never got down to the bottom level. Maybe it's still up there by the watchtower, Greg. Do you think that's feasible?
Definitely.
So
maybe.
So here's the question. Do I just take my keys out there today and get my car and leave? Do I even have a conversation with anybody?
I think you need to.
Really?
Yes.
I think it's probably worth addressing it with somebody.
And
but you might have a better chance of taking out your frustration and talking to the people at Chick-fil-A than the valet themselves.
They would be more pleasant with, they would. Any issue you had with them, that would be settled.
That's what I mean. I feel
literally their pleasure.
I feel like they should. I feel like they should help extinguish this fire for you.
Okay, before you reintroduce said advice, I want you to rethink it, and I want you to have the understanding that it's not likely, it's probable. When I bring this up and I introduce my keys with the tab on it, that I'm then going to be quoted how much it costs for my car being there the last 5 days. And I think everyone in this building has a pretty good idea where that's going to go and how that's going to go.
Yeah. The only reason I say you need to say something because sadly, I think a certain red part of your anatomy is going to show up, is that if you just walk up, do the beep beep on your Royal Buick GMC vehicle and get in and pull out, I wouldn't be surprised if, blue lights show up behind you somewhat down the line.
Would love to have that conversation about how my keys were in another person's car on the way home with them.
But so you're telling me your car has been there for more than a week?
Since
last Friday, right? Thursday? Friday? Yeah.
When did I leave? Thursday.
Yeah.
Which that's normal. I mean, Thursday to Monday night is normal.
It's not that I don't know why I thought it was there from like the Monday
Trust
before.
Me, it feels like
it feels like
it's been
longer.
7 Mondays ago.
It feels like longer. I don't know how
Austin's
you handle it.
Austin's a freaking haul, man.
Dude.
I mean, this is not
you ain't in Kansas anymore. No, this is not
Columbia, South Carolina.
I'll take the 38-minute flight from Birmingham to Atlanta and then the 19-minute flight from Atlanta to Columbia. Like, yeah. The only place it's going to be harder to get to is probably Missouri. Missouri's the hardest.
Yeah, it's by far.
But Austin will be the second toughest because once you land, that's half the battle. Then you have potentially an hour of traffic to get to where it is you got to go. So yeah, it's not a breeze by any stretch.
So the question is for the listeners, 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. How do you handle this? Do you go to counter and ask for your car and see how long that takes?
Yeah.
Just to allow the realization of individual's cars here. He has his ticket, but there are no keys.
I'm so sarcastic. Like, I would definitely just go get my car and then go and sit in front of valet, honk, take the blue thing, throw it out the window, and take off. And I would skid out.
That's the ultimate positive result. I just think it's probably best if you at least let them know that you have your keys before you leave, as opposed to just rolling up and.
But why do I need to let them know I have my keys? Because they don't know they don't even know my keys are anywhere, because they're not there. And the thing that they have that keeps tab of it is with my keys.
Because technically the car's not in your possession, it's in theirs. And even though it's your car, you would be taking it.
Also could be in possession of lady who drove off from airport because she had keys.
Could be.
Easily could have been. Greg, what do you do?
I just told you what I'd do. I would go get it. I would pull it out. I would sit in front of the valet. I'd take the blue thing off, throw it out, and then skid out. Peel off. Yeah. Smell you later. That's about what I'd do. But I don't know. It's not an easy thing to figure out.
To steal your car back from the valet, even though you have your keys to your car?
It might not be easy to like pull through. You might need like a garage door clicker. I don't know. I don't know how the valet circumstances are.
That's the key is where is the vehicle? If it's up top, we're good. I can just go. I can just get in and go.
Yeah.
If it's wherever they hide them, then I'm in trouble. Because I got to get in there. I don't even know where that is. I just walk around and hit the horn honk thing, the panic button.
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
so
just the beep beep.
Yeah. That's what I do when I park in the regular parking.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what the people think. Dustin, what would you do?
Hey, guys, I just wanted to advise you that it is possible that if you leave with your vehicle without having a conversation with the valet, you may be guilty of the crime theft of services. Now, they screwed up. That's undeniable. But they did.
I feel like their services were stolen from them when my keys rode off in somebody else's car, but I understand where you're going.
I mean, you're not wrong, but that may not be something you want to adjudicate with a cop on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So just as a cautionary tale. I'm not a lawyer. I can't tell you what to do. But.
No, we're getting Whitney Paulson on line 1. Call my lawyer. Thank you, Dustin. That's good advice. I appreciate that. Lee in Cincinnati, welcome in.
Now, here's what you need to do. You need to go up like you know absolutely nothing. Ask them for your keys. Tell them you want your keys. Tell them you want to get your car and see how they react. And then when they can't find your keys, right, then you let them know, okay, we have a problem here. So we've got to work this out. And then you show them that you have the keys and say, here's how we're going to handle this. You're going to pay me to take my car out of here. I'm not paying you a darn thing unless you want to have – because you've got a legal right here to where they have totally screwed up. You could have had your car stolen. And you can bring all that up to them and say, look, we've got a problem, so we're just the slate's going to be clean. I'm going without paying anything.
If we're going to go, thank you, Lee. And I appreciate that. And that's the mindset that I would take is just my fear is if I am even asked to pay for this, the conversation then does not go well.
Nor should it. At this point, this is probably the only time ever that red asshole is justifiable.
And I just feel like there are going to be folks potentially who had nothing to do with the keys not being there.
Yeah.
That they don't care. Their job is to have me pay to get my car back. But I don't have to pay you to get my car back because I have the keys in my hand.
Right.
I like this one. I guess you got a text from a well-studied colleague. Smart man.
Does he have legal background?
No.
Okay.
He's in construction, but he's smart. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
This is genius. You leverage the cost of a key replacement and suggest that you will also get your bill for free. So you tell them, hey, I already, these keys showed up. You guys have my car still there. These keys showed up in my mailbox because you left them in someone's cup holder. But I wouldn't tell them that they have that. I would definitely have my backup spare keys. Oh, I always travel my backup spare keys. I would say, hey, it costs $250 to replace these keys on this GMC or however much it costs. So you get the $250 for the key replacement and you get free parking.
I appreciate your buddy's mindset.
Good thought. It's a good thought.
The actual thought of that process makes my head hurt. Knowing
they're not going to walk over to register and cha-ching, here you go. Here's $250 for the go get a new key.
That's going to be lengthy and painful. I think
the best thing maybe is like call before you go. It's like, hey, we have an issue. I need to talk to the manager when I get there. I know it sounds Karen-y, but the other way you could play it is you walk up, hey, I'd like my car. Oh, we're having an issue finding it. Okay, I'll wait a little bit. We're not quite sure what to do. Oh, well, I'm not paying for it. Okay, fine. That's agreed. Beep, beep. See ya. As soon as they say, okay, you're off the hook for this, you pull out your keys and go.
All right. So if you've missed the beginning of the show, my keys are with me. My car is at valet. The keys were left in another individual's cup holder of their car. I guess I'm done with valet now. Like Greg's been trying to get me to stop, and I guess I won't have a choice now.
Valet is the absolute worst. When it took me an hour to get my car once, that's when I was done. It was over. It's a great run.
And I know what y'all are thinking, like, oh, you fancy, huh? Valet. It's actually not much more than your daily.
It's also covered by the company.
And in theory, it's a lot easier because you walk right out.
But as Greg stated, it's reimbursed.
Yes.
So
you can spend $18 on valet or you can spend $24 on hourly. I'd rather be in control of my own destiny. So I'll go to the hourly parking.
205-834-9450 if you want to text in suggestions on how this should be handled. How would you handle this? Because today it's got to be handled at some point. Got to get my car back. So no, Chris Fields, I'm not having a red A morning. It's just that my car is at the valet and I have the keys. They don't. I don't know exactly where vehicle is. But I have the keys in my possession, but I have not gotten it officially back from valet yet. So the question is, do I just go get it and drive off? Do I let them know? Do I make them sweat it out? Where do I go with that? Greg Skipworth asked, was the valet issue a matter of execution or coaching?
Did the second half score more points than the first?
Well, they did great on the front end. So I would say that they're probably not a great coach here because second half's not going well.
Looks like your keys are a victim of slide protection.
Yeah.
Where it slid into the wrong spot.
That does happen.
Brian Trawick tweets in the words of Ted Lasso, quote, doing the right thing is never the wrong thing. Have a combo.
Yeah, but he has a mustache, though. And it as good as that show is, you can't take a man seriously with that kind of mustache.
So in this case, are you saying when they did the wrong thing, it's the right thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the concept of that. Like talking to the valet is fine. I don't think you have a problem with that.
It depends on the response.
Yeah, and I think the valet will handle it the right way, but they're sloppy. I'm not going there anymore. Ain't got time for it.
Seabass Jimmy tweets in, I think you need to chill. It's a mistake, an accident. You never made a mistake? Get real. I'm sorry the peasants let you down. We'll do better. See, I knew that was coming. Once again, Jimmy, this is reimbursed by my company for my travel. And also, if you look into the cost, it's a couple dollars more than daily parking. It's really not that much different. But I should have known that was
Of course,
coming.
right. Yeah.
So that's exactly my intent here, is to make everyone feel like they're poor and below me. That's where I was heading with that. Thanks.
I think he was basically saying that people made a mistake. I don't think he's necessarily suggesting that you are some rich snob that valets his car at the airport before he goes on one of his 100 trips this year.
How much is daily parking? Like not hour, like $18 a day?
$12.
$12 a day? I think valet is
and
what,
you can't find
22?
a spot. No, valet is
It's
18.
They're not the same.
No, it's 12 for daily.
And 18 for valet?
18 for valet, 24 for hourly.
It's not much more.
No.
And like Greg said,
By the time you find a spot
reimbursed.
in daily,
You also have to take into consideration big picture here. Valet here is still like $20 less a day than parking in Colquitt County for Hartsfield International.
Correct. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if you wanted to park daily in Chicago, that's like $30 a day more than valet here. Ron in Huntsville. Welcome in, Ron.
How you doing this morning, man?
Great.
I got a suggestion. You need to take your tag of registration on your vehicle and your ID. That would probably help a lot. And I'll give you proof of what you got registration. You're the owner of the vehicle.
The tag that's in his vehicle currently.
Yep. Tag registration and all.
So he needs to
Well,
take the
if you
keys
show
that
it.
he has, go to his vehicle, get the tag and registration out, then walk up to the counter and say, "Hey, this is mine."
Yeah, take his ID too.
Yeah,
So
Perfect.
I think the only issue there, Ron, is I don't know where the car is exactly to get to it. It might be up at the parking level. It might not. All right.
all I know is it is a situation that I'm glad didn't happen to me. I would have lost it. Because when it comes to travel, as much as we travel, I don't play. You can say a lot of things.
I don't.
I'm telling you, I don't play. Hey, I am a really nice person. I think those that have met me, those that have been, feel like I'm a pretty nice person.
Tolerable.
You start messing with my travel, you mess with my family, you mess with my travel, we're fighting. I'm just telling you, there's two things that are off limits: family and travel.
There we go.
Money's not one.
Take my identity, make fun of my looks. By God, my travel.
I don't
We got
care.
problems.
I don't care about that. I don't care about my looks. You can make fun of me for all
Question
that.
my X's and O's. But
Call me-
not my travel.
You can call me fat. We're good. I'm fine with all that. That doesn't matter. But what I won't let you do is make my travel life more miserable than it already is. Can't have that.
Brian Treywick tweets back in, look up sovereign immunity in airport. That sounds serious.
Yeah, that
Get Whitney Polson on line one.
sounds brutal.
I need to speak to my attorney.
All right,
Uh,
now I have a really smart guy.
Okay, hold on. Jeremy
All right.
Todd tweets in, maybe it's just me, but at moments like this, I find letting it go is better for your soul. Give grace, even if they don't deserve it.
That's not today.
Jeremy,
Not-
you
not-
sound a lot like my wife, and I wish I could be more like both of you.
Not today.
And I'm going to try to do that. And I don't have a problem doing that. I am just forecasting that when I feel like I do that, I know what's coming. And that's when I'm not going to be able to be that anymore. I'm warning myself here. Greg, your friend?
Another very smart gentleman used to work at a Fortune 500 company in town.
Well, if he was fired
guy's
from
big
said
time.
company, I don't know how much I trust his
He
opinion
retired, and
anymore.
believe
Okay.
me, he's
Good.
fine.
Okay.
He needs to go ask for his car, so they realize they lost his keys. Then you have the leverage. He then indicates he has a spare set and have them take him to his car and call it a day. Then you get paid for the loss of keys. He actually says he will go with you and guaranteed
There we go.
that you won't pay
Wow.
a thing.
Okay.
So Bill will go with you
If he'll
if
have,
necessary.
if he'll have the conversation for me, that'd be great. I would
Yes.
love to have a representative. I need this in all facets of life. Like every time something goes
You got to
wrong,
get back coach for this.
it's a mediator.
Although
Shohei has a translator. I need a translator for issues like
that
this.
didn't work out well for Shohei, though.
It's a red A translator. Well, yeah, as long as he's not. Is he a gambler?
I want my translator to be a gambler.
Although
That's
if we're going to go down this path, you got to get it in writing, as Luca has shown us. Just because they say they're going to
Yeah.
pay for something.
Mm.
All right, as we move further away from the hot weather, you know your HVAC system worked overtime this summer. Make sure you're prepared for the months and years ahead with a Train Comfort System. Right now, Train's Unstoppable event offers you peace of mind with a 10-year warranty on parts and labor with select Train home comfort systems. To learn more, visit train.com. All right, back with more right after this. So this takes me to a different part of the story.
Oh, good
Uber
song.
last night drove me home.
Uh-huh.
Very nice gentleman, by the way.
Oh, here we go.
And
Tell us how you really feel.
well, no, there were two things about it. Number one,
Car was clean.
Edgardo. We're going to give him a tip. I just forgot to do that on my phone. Saw that right there.
Wow, you are just money.
Since I'm so rich.
We are Mr. Moneybags.
I was trying to find out what kind of car he had. It was a Dodge SUV that I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard of this in my life.
A Durango?
Nope, heard of a Durango. It was very squared off. Probably late 90s, early 2000s model of something. That's about the range it felt like. But he was absolutely blasting 80s soft rock on the way home.
There we go.
Okay.
He's like, "You mind music?" I said, "No." And then
He turned
cranked it. It was like Billy Joel. I was the whole way home. I was
Yacht
like,
rocking?
whatever.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I can get on board with the yacht rock
wasn't mad
on the
at
way
it.
home from a Monday show.
I probably needed it last night.
Did not need corn.
No, there will be no corn on the way to the airport tonight. That would be a terrible idea. We need some Sarah McLachlan on the way to the airport. All right, Damien, the text line, if you want to get in, is 205-834-9450. What are folks saying there?
They're getting there. You kind of got the balance in between. Some people are taking the high road saying, hey, it's just a mistake. Other ones are like, nah, you deserve one good Red A. Cole moment. Somebody texted in and said, when somebody sees you walk into the valet, they're going to know instantly they made the mistake.
Are they?
I don't know about his gait. I mean, he's not going to walk up like Mr. McMahon, like, uh-oh, this guy means
No
business.
chance.
I still missed the no chance. What was that about the Sluka deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're part. You're the establishment, right? We're part of the
Well, that's
establishment.
true, right?
That's
Yeah.
it. We are.
Uh,
There's a rich establishment over here.
right.
Yep.
Somebody
been
said,
that.
play dumb until they realize they made the mistake, then you use your leverage. So they're using offensive line.
I think I'm
ain't
going to go back
playing.
to what John said. I appreciate where some folks are going with that, but my brain is not going to allow me to believe that this would be some sort of easy process to get a key replacement check. I feel like that would be very lengthy, full of headaches, and eventually not worth it because of just everything. The loopholes you would probably have to go to. Like John said, they're not reaching in the register and saying, was it 2, 3, 4, 350?
You know what, here's
here you
5
go.
for your troubles.
Just, yeah, don't even
I'm
worry
a
about
listener. Here you go.
it. Nuh-uh. Just not going to happen. No.
I'm
So,
just I just trying to figure out how you're going to get new keys out of it. That's all I care about. Or the $200 it costs to get new keys.
Right. I'm just saying, I think that's going to be, I don't think that's going to be easy to make happen.
Why?
Will takes it and says, drop your keys off and tell the valet to take you to your house.
I would love that, by the way. Once again, I don't know if that would be,
I do like that. That's a good play.
I don't know if that'd be easier. I feel like that's still going to be pretty difficult.
Somebody said, go ask for your card, then pull out a lawn chair.
Do the
Yeah,
toss the chair out.
I don't hate that.
This is wild.
You
I
need
do
to be
feel-
like the guy that's like sitting down in the GIF where he takes the chair and goes like
Yeah, he
this
pops it.
with
That's
the
it.
mullet.
Jennifer Goodwin tweets it. As much as I'd like to say show grace, I
The
think
actress?
Greg's idea would win. I'd locate my car on the app, pull up, throw my tag at him. Play get
Smell
your
you
roll
later,
on.
suckers.
Everybody get your boom, 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 and then just skirt out.
Yeah.
David Birdsong gave up on valet years ago. Long-term parking all the way to the top. Park right next to the elevator. From parking gate to security's 5 minutes. Only downside, your car's outside. Yeah, can deal
Well,
with
it's
that.
outside either way.
But that's Greg. Your solution is
Hourly.
hourly.
Hourly's the GOAT. Telling you, I made the switch from valet 3-4 years ago, and I've never looked back. So it really started during COVID. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know I'm gonna like get COVID or something from the valet. I'm gonna have to miss a game. Like, so I was like, I'm just gonna play it cool. I don't want anyone else in my car. I'm just gonna park separately. And dude, I've never gone back. And it was the greatest thing ever.
Chris Fields tweets in, how many mornings do we have Cole's world problems causing this man to go through it? To a point, he goes, why me with the GIF? Listen, this is just my life, man. I'm sharing my life with you guys. Some of it, you end up using it as advice for yourselves.
You would think.
Other is just to laugh at me. I provide that service to you.
Yeah.
The ability to laugh at another human for what they go through. I am your verbal punching bag every morning.
Somebody texted in and said, imagine some poor kid working his part-time job this morning at the airport listening to y'all thinking, oh, man, I just screwed up.
Paulie Walnuts tweets in, that car's probably stolen. Buddy of mine had his stolen 2 months ago. It's not stolen because I have the keys. So, all right. When we come back, Tulane visiting UAB this weekend. Their head coach, John Sumrall, joins us right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:32 a.m., Tuesday, October 1st, right here on Jocks 94.5. Say about your CBD store quickly before we get to John Sumrall, Tulane head football coach. If you have trouble sleeping, if you have body aches, arthritis, anxiety, you or your pet, your CBD store has products that can help. Weight loss, the Trim by SunMed is in stock now. They want to help you with that. Better focus throughout the course of the day. They can help you there as well at the largest brick-and-mortar CBD retailer on planet Earth. First company to have USDA-certified organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp seal on those products in the store. Visit one of their 4 locations. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver. Trustful just off 459. And now downtown in 5 Points, your CBD store where good health hits home. Tulane head football coach John Sumrall. Great to have you back on. You'll be making your way back into Birmingham this weekend. Just kind of give us your 1,000-foot view of how things are going so far this season as the Tulane head football coach.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. Always good being on with y'all. It's been a little bit of a slow start. We got 58 new players in this roster, lots of turnover. Anytime there's a coaching change, there's going to be turnover. And then the world we live in now of college football with transfer portal and NIL and all those things, the roster fluidity is probably harder to manage more than ever. And so we got a lot of new guys. I mean, we got 4 returning starters on defense, 7 guys that started game 1 this season weren't on the roster when I got here. And so the revolving door that we've created a little bit made it challenging to start the year, I think, for us to play with maybe some cohesiveness and that chemistry you're looking for. But I think we're kind of finding our way a little bit. And it's been a challenging schedule, to say the least. 9 conference. We played Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Louisiana Lafayette, which are all 3 really good programs. And last week played a really talented South Florida team. And I'm excited about our opportunity this week in Birmingham against UAB.
What would you say? You referenced turnover. I know every coach does the best they possibly can do to try to make sure, hey, cooler heads prevail, guys. Don't do something dumb. Like jump in the portal, get to know me first, and then make decisions after the fact. I know it's easier said than done, but what do you do in the immediate aftermath of your hiring to try to settle everybody down and not with, I think it'd be easy to start making promises just as a desperation not to lose everybody. So how do you kind of balance that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the most important thing is to not be judgmental as a head coach. Like there's probably 8 to 10 kids that are on this team right now. A handful of them were in the portal when I took the job before I was even named the head coach, and a handful of them were on the brink of going in. And so I think, and I met with a lot of those guys one-on-one, and I listened to them, and I said, hey, I understand maybe your concern. There's uncertainty. You don't know me. You don't know what I'm about. I can empathize with that. Like if I was in your shoes, I might be going, man, what's going on here? And we've just had a really good thing going on, and there's a lot of change. And sometimes that uncertainty makes people uncomfortable. And you have to, I think as the leader in the program, not like get pissed off about that and just go, hey, I get it. Like it's part of it, man. Like, and give people some grace in that, man. Cause like there's so many things that they didn't choose to come to Tulane and play for me. Some of those guys that were here. And so I need to give them a little bit of an opportunity to kind of get to know me and not be, I don't think it's right to come in and like put pressure on kids and try to, overdo it. I like to meet with them one-on-one, let them know what the vision of the program is going to look like, what the culture is going to look like, how they're going to be coached, how we're going to have relationships with them, and go from there. And you're not going to have 100% retention. Some guys, when I took the job here, their mind was made up regardless. They could have named Nick Saban the next head coach here, and they weren't staying. And so you have to understand that these kids are going through something that is uncertain for them and their future, and respect that. And at the same time, show them why you think it could be a good thing if they stayed. And so it's a challenge. I make zero promises other than we're going to coach them really hard. We're going to love them really hard. I'm like, you want to get coached, you want to get taken care of and treated like family, you're going to have a blast here. If you don't like getting coached, and you don't want to have a relationship with your coaches and like know they care about you, then maybe it's not the right fit, And so, but that is a challenge. It's so hard because it's like speed dating. You're trying to earn somebody's trust really fast, which is really hard to do.
Absolutely. John Sumrall, Tulane head football coach, joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline. He'll visit UAB this weekend. You got a little bit of a 3-headed monster going offensively. Darian Mintz has been great at quarterback. Mekhi Hughes get it done on the ground. Mario Williams at receiver. Our favorite conversation topic with you last year was what direction your team was going to go on a weekly basis. Was it lean on the defense, lean on the run game, throw the football? I am assuming you don't have that much versatility with how you can take your strategy into each and every game this year because of that roster turnover you mentioned. But what has your approach been as to how much you can change your strategy or maybe your personality of your football team each and every week?
Yeah, I think we're more of an offensive-driven team than we were at Troy. We've got, you mentioned those names, like Mensa, the young quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman, did not play in a game until this year, and last week was 18 of 22. 300-something yards and 3 touchdowns. Played really, really good football. Mekhi Hughes, our starting running back, he's a Birmingham native, is probably, one of the most consistent players in our conference. Mario, big-time playmaker out on the perimeter. Yule Keith, Brown, Dante Fleming, Alex Bauman, our skill guys at receiver and tight end, have a huge impact in the game. We are. I mentioned the turnover. Really, like I said, we're very green on defense. We're very inexperienced, at least in this system. The guys that played here last year, they actually ran the same system we ran at Troy, because Willie had hired my DC when I was at Troy down here, and so the system's kind of the same. The biggest thing is we had so much roster turnover on defense that early in the year we've had to kind of lean on our offense more. And you do look each week, there is a different formula for winning the game. Now, winning the run game battle, winning the explosive play battle, winning the special teams battle, and the turnover margin usually, is a good formula to winning football games. But every team's different, and this team's a little different than what we had at Troy, because I think we've got maybe more of an opportunity to be explosive offensively at times. And then defensively, we're just so much less experienced and have less cohesion, and we've kind of been trying to find our way. And then you go in each week, and every game's different. Every opponent's different. We played South Florida last week that they want to go so fast that it's like can be nauseating if you let them get started. And we had to kind of control the game and run the ball and eat the clock. We had time of possession. That game was 42 minutes. Well, then there's other games where we need to play faster. We go play Kansas State, and we feel like it was better to play fast for our formula. And so each week's a little different. But at the end of the day, this game's about players, and if you get the guys that are good players the ball and you put them in positions to be successful, and then defensively you ask guys to do jobs they can do well, that's what gives you a chance. But each week is a little different. But this team here, we're definitely, our identity is a little more offensive driven than maybe in the past.
Yeah, and it looks like kind of the whole world in the American right now. It's looking like a league where you have to score some points. It's tough for sure with what Memphis has and with some of the teams you'll face. It seems like the whole league really might be moving in that direction. Do you have a reason why? Maybe I know you just kind of ran through the reasoning why you guys specifically are leaning a little more offense, but it looks like just kind of across the board, the Americans going to be some shootouts that you guys are going to have to win. Do you know why that is?
Yeah, I think there's a really good accumulation of talent at the skill positions in this league, just watching it. Looking across, like when I took the job in the offseason, watched a ton of tape on everybody in our league, not just the teams we're going to play this year. I just wanted to get to know the entire league better. And the skill positions, man, there's some dudes at receiver and at running back, and there's some good quarterbacks in this league. The one we're getting ready to play this week, the Zeno kid at UAB, I think is a really good player. And they've got great receivers. I mean, this number 0, number 8, number 1, some of these guys I'm watching on tape, I'm like, dadgum, I'd like to have some of those guys. So not trying to get caught for tampering, but there's guys in this league all across the board, the skill positions are really talented. And I think, when you play in a league like this, Greg, I think it's interesting because you've got Army and Navy in this league. So you got to get ready to – we played Army the last 2 years at Troy and had rock fights with them. And so you got to get ready for that in a week. And then you got to go play Memphis or South Florida or North Texas. North Texas and South Florida now are going warp speed, Tennessee offense. North Texas is a little more Leachish, but you're getting that offense. Well, then you play UAB, and it's a little more pro style. And so I think the variation you see offensively week to week, man, the defensive coordinator's job is so hard because it's not like, if you coach in the NFL, you kind of see similarities each week. It's got a lot of carryover, and a lot of the offenses have some consistencies. Man, this conference offensively, each week you're dealing with a different monster. And so it's probably a little easier for the coaches. It's hard for the players because your vision lines on defense, you're seeing something totally different. You go from, like I said, last week, South Florida, a lot of 10 personnel pictures, maybe in 11 personnel, but 4 wide looks, to then all of a sudden under center triple option versus Army. Like good luck getting a 18-year-old guy to understand how fast he's got to change how he's keying things in a week, And so that's a real challenge. I think just the diversification of the offensive style of play.
That's wild. And then, some of the triple option teams now are implementing some pro style stuff, which makes it even more difficult. So it's crazy to see. Yeah.
Navy, man. Navy's pass game. I watched. They just played UAB, and I watched some of their.
They're
stuff.
No joke.
They're unbelievable. Their quarterback, man. They're running some of the same old midline veer stuff.
Right.
All the stuff they've always done. But then all of a sudden they're giving you some post over Z.
Yeah,
Klein
they got
stuff.
deep ball.
It's like, yeah, I'm like,
and it's not once a game anymore. And it's not like, hey, we'll do it just to keep them honest, and I'll airmail it by 20 yards. But it's like they can actually hit it now.
No, they're running a pro style pass game with max protection, 2-man routes, and hitting you on shots. And it's like, man, it is a handful to defend. And so that's what I think made this league offensively so challenging. If you're a defensive coach, is man, everything is so different week to week. And what those guys are doing at Navy, my goodness, it's a handful.
Absolutely, Coach. Great stuff. We always appreciate the time. We love talking football with you. Best of luck this weekend. I know you're going to enjoy coming back to Alabama. Look forward to catching up again soon.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. John Sumrall, head coach of Tulane, be taking on UAB this weekend. And he's right. I mean, that Navy offense, they're 4-0, by the way. They're fun to watch. Really fun to watch. And they're at Air
Army's
Force
4-0 too, by the way.
Yep.
Everybody. How good is Army Navy going to be this year?
Hopefully, really good.
We going?
I don't know. Are we?
I don't know. What's the date?
Today's October the 1st.
Yeah, no, I can't go.
That is on December the 14th.
Eesh.
That's the weekend after Championship Saturday.
Before first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. So the one weekend we have off, hey, babe, love you. I got to go to Army Navy. It's for love of country.
It is.
Could be undefeated?
Celebrate our servicemen. Could they be undefeated? Air Force, Charlotte, Notre Dame, Rice, South Florida, Tulane, East Carolina, Army for Navy. That's their schedule. Well, Army, yeah, of course. Could Army, Tulsa, UAB, East Carolina, Air Force, North Texas, Notre Dame, UTSA? Saying they're both going to get Notre Dame would be tough, but could
it's
they?
not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. That'd be, I mean, even if they were just both one loss.
But it's not, it's crazy to think that it's possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely crazy.
All right, we are going to get to our top three, talk a little NFL on the other side when we come back. But first, G-Mac, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
Well, Crocker Movers is a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. They need your whole home back to move. Your company headquarters moved across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call and visit them online today for a free quote. The website is crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, back with a little bit more on our top three, which is an NFL lean on Tuesdays, next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Going to have to wait a few more minutes on your top three at 7:50 a.m. Tuesday, October 1st. Jocks 94.5. Watch us live on YouTube right now. Search Jocks 945. But one thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care office you can see in the same day. It's tough to schedule around kids, activities. Sometimes it's just hard to make dental appointments work. That's why Family Dental's flexibility is there to let you in and make sure it's convenient for both you and your family. Fridays and Saturday appointments available. Most insurance plans are accepted. They're accepting patients of all ages, and they offer routine cleanings that now include free teeth whitening. Occasions throughout the town in Hoover, Homewood, Fultondale, and Alabaster. Call Family Dental today at 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
All right, top three each and every day. We get an NFL lean on Tuesdays. Damian, what do you have for us today?
Well, through 4 weeks of the season, there are 2 undefeated NFL teams. One, the Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champions, and
Minnesota.
the Minnesota Vikings, led by one Sam Darnold.
Hey, we're so back.
So is he now in contention for MVP and comeback player of the year?
It's a little early for MVP talk, I think, but okay.
Comeback player of the year, just that's you can bag that one. You got to stay healthy.
Who's even in the mix for that? Andy Dalton?
Yeah, could be.
Could be.
You can come back from the bench, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so Bryce has got a shot. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
That's a good point.
Came
Darnold
from the
did.
crib.
Yeah.
Came from the crib and won it. So, yeah. And that's surprising, though. I was not expecting Minnesota to be this good with Sam Darnold as the quarterback. But, hey, what do I know? Because we look at the NFL, takeaway number 2, Jaden Daniels.
He's been
lock
great.
for Rookie of the Year.
I had him on my bench in
Lock?
fantasy this week, too,
Lock.
like an idiot.
Lock it in.
I don't know if I'd go as far as to say lock. I mean, he did play the Cardinals. But he's been a lot better, I think, than I anticipated in the early going.
The Commanders are number 1 in the NFC East right now.
That's right. 3-1.
3-1, baby. Why are you hating on Jaden?
I'm not. I think he's really good. I didn't think he'd be
forgot
this good.
You're a big Caleb Williams guy.
Maybe not a lock
Definitely
yet,
not.
but he's the leader in the clubhouse for sure.
Oh, by far. I mean, Marcus Mariota is on the IR, so I
Whoa.
mean, it was,
What about Ryan Williams?
if he was in the league?
He could do it against
You
the
think he'll pull a claret and try and leave after this year?
Oh, boy.
That would be fire.
You know how old Ryan Williams is?
16.
You got a good idea.
+1. And the biggest takeaway, finally, after 3 long weeks, the Tennessee Titans get their first victory of the season. Will Levis got injured,
Not without drama.
and steps in Mason Rudolph, former Pittsburgh Steeler. Ain't that right, Cole?
Yes.
We should have known.
Hey, listen. Guy got hit with his own helmet, so don't
Yeah.
question his toughness.
That'll
Dude
kinda do it,
survived a murder attempt.
But yes, Tennessee Titans knock off the Miami Dolphins, and Miami without Tua looks pretty bad.
A little different.
They're not as dominant as they have been. But yeah, that's the top.
Hold
three
on
for
a
the day.
second.
Most
Your
importantly,
guy Jared Goff went 18 of 18 last
he
night.
did.
18 completions
He did.
on 18 attempts.
So
292 yards, 2 touchdowns. By the way, Geno Smith threw the ball 56 times last night.
Yeah.
they had to.
Yeah.
It's just so it's
Round to bow.
There was a more important game on Monday night besides that one.
I don't feel like there was.
It was.
These Monday
Jared
night
Goff was
doubleheaders. These
18
Monday
of
night
18.
doubleheaders, you can have them.
What?
You heard me.
Who wants more
Wow.
football?
Wow. So Greg doesn't
I
love
would
ball.
appreciate it if they put one on Tuesdays.
That
But
would make it easier. Yeah.
That's coming in a couple weeks.
I'm sure.
The Mac.
Yeah.
well, no, I'm NFL.
Oh, you're talking NFL. Yeah, I got you.
But
About
yeah,
to say NFL. I'm sure if you say that, the NFL will try.
I might be okay with it. 395 for Geno Smith, by the way, last night. 42-29. Detroit got the win. I'm for it. There's football on when I get home on Monday night. That usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I like it. I don't know. Why are you against it, Greg? You don't have to stay
I don't
up
like the doubleheader.
because of the
they're-
overlap.
It's the overlap. It's too much. Like Monday Night Football is supposed to be one game.
I understand that sentiment, but it's
Monday Night Football, dog.
it gives you there is an overlap, but also gives you a bigger window of actual football. So
Fair.
that's a plus.
Fair. Still wish that it was just one game.
John, Monday Night Football doubleheaders, yes or no?
I'm more on your side than Greg's. I see where he's coming from, and he's not wrong. but I'm still not going to complain about more football.
I'm a traditionalist, I suppose.
I do
You're
like
getting
the
same amount of
individually-
football, it's just at a different time.
I do like the individually focused games where I don't have to worry about going back and forth.
Exactly. I don't like
'Cause I don't get
feeling
that a
like
lot.
I'm missing something.
Because it's not unlike what the SEC does on New Year's Day, having like the Outback Bowl and Gasparilla or whatever, the Tampa, well, like there are two like SEC bowl games going on like at noon. Oh, by the way, also there's a New Year's Six. Like, well, wait a minute. Like, y'all couldn't have moved these anywhere else?
I think it's like Cheez-It, Citrus.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, they're all at the same time.
another one at the
Outback,
same time.
maybe, whatever. Yeah, all at once.
Music
like, come on,
City.
guys.
Also, I believe it's Gasparilla Bowl.
I tried to roll my R. It didn't work. I've been out of practice.
Gasparilla.
All right.
Ria.
Good stuff on that one, Damien.
I hope Will Levis has a speedy recovery.
Got to get your money out that jersey.
I
How
got to.
sick is Mason Rudolph?
Pretty
It's
disgusting.
going to be like Tannehill all over again. Pay him a max contract and back to
If he
average.
takes us to the playoffs,
You
might
feel
as well.
good about Mason Rudolph instead?
Not at all.
Oh,
XFL bound.
good.
But he's a winner.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We are in October. It is Tuesday, October 1st on Jocks 94.5. Listen online, jocksfm.com. You can tweet into the show at Mac and Cube. Text in 205-834-9450. You guys know football season's here. It means you better be stocked up on Dale's seasoning. In just 30 minutes, this ultimate grilling marinade can infuse your meats and vegetables with unbeatable flavor, making every bite a game changer. Whether you're grilling steaks, burgers, mixing in your favorite game day dips. Dale's versatility will elevate your tailgate spread from bland to bold. Don't settle for boring. Make Dale's seasoning your grilling MVP. Andy Burcham, our MVP of talking Auburn football. He joins us each and every week thanks to our friends at Craneworks.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
The voice of the Auburn Tigers, Andy Burcham, on Mac and Cube in the Morning is brought to you by Craneworks. Lifted, buy and rented, the big dog's got it. Now, Andy Burcham.
Good morning, Andy. Appreciate you being with us. What were your takeaways from Coach Freeze from Tiger Talk last night?
He talked, and it was very similar to what he talked about in his press conference yesterday morning, just how tough the loss to Oklahoma was, how close Auburn was to winning that ball game. He talked about some of the regrets of not probably running Jarquez Hunter more in a couple key situations, including 4th and 1 at the goal line in the first half, where Auburn came up empty and late when it had a chance to run some clock. And instead of passing, giving the ball to Jarquez, and perhaps if you don't make it, then you punt it away. So, and also, I mean, he talked a lot about the youth of this team and how that youth is starting to produce for Auburn. I mean, DeMarcus Riddick had a terrific game for Auburn. Best game he's had as an Auburn Tigers with 8 tackles and a tackle for loss and a sack in that game. Auburn, of course, is having to play youth at the cornerback spot. It has no choice at this point. With Antonio Kite and Kay and Lee are both sophomores, and then Jay Crawford and J.C. Hart are both freshmen and a redshirt freshman. On the other side, Kelbrick Falk, just a sophomore. So, and then you know the work that Malcolm Simmons has continued to do. Cam Coleman, I thought, had his best game for Auburn this past week as well. And outside the youth, I mean, I asked him point blank. I said, evaluate Payton Thorne in the game, and he said Payton Thorne played just a terrific ball game. He said he really laid it on the line. He'd love to have one throw back. There's no question about that. The pick six turned out to be an enormous point of that game. There's no question about that. But I think he was very pleased with the way Payton responded after the loss to Arkansas and what he did, and then Auburn cut down his turnovers. He was pleased as well with the defense in the fact that it cut down on the 3rd and long that it gave up in the Arkansas game. There were a lot of positives coming out of that game. I know it's lost on the loss, and I know it's lost on how Auburn lost that game. But those are some of the takes that I saw and heard from Coach Freeze last night on Tiger Talk.
I think there's a lot to feel good about with the offensive performance. The only frustrating thing would be, like you said, the pick six. They ran the exact same play against a blitz. Same look, same play. Play 67 against Arkansas. Was play 50 against Oklahoma. Brent Venables knew exactly where he was going to go with it. Their blitz beater, throw an inside slant to the slot receiver in an empty set. They dropped right underneath it. It was a pick six. You can't have the same blitz beater in back-to-back games. Not in the SEC. Not going to happen. Teams are too good, too well coached, and the players are too aware. When you look at the defense, I think there's a lot to feel decent about. But this will be an enormous challenge this week against Georgia. Yeah. How do you think the secondary will fare against this group of wide receivers?
Well, that's to me that's the big concern going into this game, and when we saw listen. Georgia had to throw the ball in the second half last week, and I don't think they punted in the second half. It was nothing. It was 4-down territory the entire second half, and Carson Beck was 27 of 50 for 439 yards, 3 picks, 3 touchdowns last week. And knowing that he's going to be throwing against really a lot of youth at those 2 cornerback spots is a big concern. And anytime you face Georgia, to me, in the years past, guys, I don't know if you viewed this as well. Georgia's wide receivers just look different than other teams' wide receivers. They're big, they're very athletic, and I mean they just look like a different animal out there. And that is a huge concern for Auburn. Because Auburn's done really well against the run in recent weeks, but they have not faced a passing offense like the one that they're about to face this week with Carson Beck in the pocket and Lovett and Smith and Evans and Young and Jackson and Humphreys and Bell and even Lucky, the tight end. We haven't seen this kind of passing attack in the first 5 games for Auburn this week. And, of course, it coincides with Auburn's first road trip to a Georgia team that has dominated this series of late. You know, I mean, you look at this series, and Cole, when you were playing in it, you know, this was an incredibly even series. But Auburn hasn't won in Athens since the early part of this century. I think Georgia has won the last 7 games against Auburn. And this has become a little bit of a one-sided series of late. And this is a really good Georgia team that Auburn faces on Saturday. I will be very intrigued to see how Auburn shapes up and responds against this Georgia ball club this week.
Andy Burcham joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline. He's with us each and every week thanks to Craneworks. Give us a little bit more on DeMarcus Riddick, because I mean, obviously I've heard his name, haven't seen a ton from him, heard a ton about him. I'm watching the film on Sunday, and I'm like, hold on, like 16 is all over the place, and physicality, like exactly how you would want it to look. Give us just a little bit more on this young man.
Yeah, he's from Chilton. He's from Chilton County, out of Clanton. He was a huge pickup for Hugh Freeze in this recruiting class last summer, and then came to Auburn early. And I think it's just taken a little bit of time. It took him 4 games to kind of find his way. Athletically, he's supreme. He's 6'2", 217. He can flat out run down a quarterback, and we saw him do that last week. And you know, I'm not sure that he's always in the right spot or doing the right thing, but he's going to do it at 100 miles an hour, and he has outstanding athletic ability. It was the best game he's had by far. Again, 8 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a sack last week. So that was I hope that was a coming out party for DeMarcus Riddick, because it's what they expected to see out of this young man, and he certainly delivered last week.
It feels like the linebackers, like that's got to be the strongest group on the entire team, just with the depth that they have and the versatility that they have, and the veteran presence that they have too. I mean, coming into the year, or at least at this point, I think you have 4 guys that have played 40+ games, and now you have some freshmen that might be popping, whether it's Riddick or hopefully Woodyard will come on. It feels like that's a group that they can certainly win with. But what about the front? I'm watching the front. I think they're solid. I am a little underwhelmed. I think there's bright spots. Like I think Jalen McLeod's got really bright spots. I think Crawford's got some bright. I think Kendrick Falk's got some bright spots, but I don't seemingly get it more than 8 or 9 snaps from each of those guys a game. Why can't I get more? And is it a fatigue thing? Is it help me understand why we don't see that group play for 60 minutes at a high level?
Well, let me give you a couple stats on Falk and McLeod, especially because Falk leads the team with 3 sacks. He's got 20 tackles, 4 quarterback hurries, and 17 quarterback pressures going into last week's game. I've not seen that number coming out of that game. Jalen McLeod, I thought, has had a really good season for Auburn. I think the 2 guys on the outside, Falk and McLeod, add Kieran Crawford to that list, and we've seen a little bit of flashes once in a while from Amaris Williams and Zykevius Walker. I think inside, though, is the spot where Auburn is still trying to find its way. The nose tackle and the defensive tackle spot. They have some depth there. They've got some guys that have played a lot of downs at other schools, but I think they're still trying to find that rotation right now. I would say that Falk and McLeod have had really good seasons for Auburn. We've seen some flashes from Kieran Crawford as well. I just don't know if they have the depth that they need at those 2 spots, and I think they're still trying to find their way in the middle right now. Although I will say this, and you know, Auburn has 10 quarterback sacks this season. Auburn's done a nice job against the opposing run game, but as far as those big numbers from those guys in the middle. We haven't seen that yet. Now, listen, Philip Blady has had a couple big games for Auburn, but it hasn't been week in and week out. And I think they're just still trying to find their way in the middle, especially at the nose tackle and defensive tackle spot.
Andy, I think Jamison Travis has been their most consistent player inside.
Yeah.
And he's not flashy. He doesn't,
No.
he's not going to be a guy with a lot of twitch, but just if you talk about like
he's solid
consistency, doing what needs to be done at that spot. I think he's been as steady as anybody they got.
Yeah. Transferred in, whether you call him Quintrail or Bobby, I've heard him called both, going in, and he's starting to find his way. And I think they're looking for that dude or those dudes in the middle right now. And this is perhaps the time for Jamison Travis to step forward and be that guy at the nose tackle spot at this point.
Has Coach Freeze said anything different about the quarterback situation? I mean, it's Payton Thorne moving forward, right?
Yeah, it's Payton Thorne moving forward. And listen, I can understand how some people would say, "Are we going to have a new quarterback?" I just no. I don't think that's even a thought.
Do you want to win games? Like that would be my response to people. Like, watch them.
Yeah.
Just watch them. I mean, like Payton Thorne is not the problem.
Yeah, I think at this point he gives you the best chance to win.
No doubt.
And I thought he really had a very good game last week. Take away one throw, and you talked about it, but take away one throw. I thought it's one of the best games he's had as an Auburn Tiger. It's unfortunate for he and Auburn that it came in just a gut punch of a loss.
It did, and I think God's honest truth, and I love Hugh. I think that one was on him. I think that's a play call. You got to have a changeup.
Yeah.
You ran it the week before against the same pressure. Venables exactly where you're going with it. They dropped right underneath it and made the play. So I think that's one where, hey, next time instead of run the slant, we run the out. And then the week after that, guess what we do? We run the whip. And the week after that, guess what we do? We move the pocket and then we roll out. Like it just you can't do the same thing 2 weeks in a row. You just can't. The teams will kill you in this league. So moving forward, this week against Georgia, we've already talked a little bit about the wide receivers against the DBs. I think that's of concern. I do think that they can score, but I want the Auburn receivers to play better. I think that group has been underwhelming this year, if you want me to be honest, outside of Keandre Lambert-Smith. Keandre Lambert-Smith is better than I thought. Everyone else is maybe slightly down from what I thought. There are great moments, but there's also moments where there's a lot of inconsistencies. So how much more is left in the tank within the wide receiver room?
I think there's a lot left in the tank because a lot of these guys you're talking about are freshmen. And they've made some freshman mistakes. And they've also shown some great promise. I thought Cam Coleman had his best game for Auburn last week, in spite of the fact that he missed the first pass that was thrown to him on a third down on that first drive. He came back and I thought was really very good for Auburn in that game. We have seen some flashes from Malcolm Simmons. I think they're going to continue to look at him in a myriad of ways. And then, Bryce Kane and Terry Thompson are still finding their way onto the field in spots. There's no question Keandre Lambert-Smith he's been the go-to guy for Auburn this year. Now the rest of the veteran guys can step up and need to step up and give Auburn and Payton Thorne some better targets at this point. Listen, Ed, we knew that there were going to be some growing pains, especially with the freshmen. And we're halfway or less than halfway through this season. But I think there is room to grow in that wide receiver room.
Andy, great stuff as always. We always appreciate the feedback and definitely look forward to catching up with you next week.
Where's everyone this week?
I'm in Nashville, Alabama at Vanderbilt.
I'm with you.
In the booth with Tom, and Greg will be where you are.
Oh, good. Well, I think you're on the sideline. We're over in the corner this week. They've moved the radio booths into the corner at Georgia. So
you know what? Somebody else said that. Oh, you know what's funny? I was listening to Toby Rowland and you. They kept going back and forth as I was driving from Oxford to Tuscaloosa. So I heard a lot of your call on Saturday. Well done. I heard a lot of Toby's call. I thought Toby was going to jump out of the booth and try to land on his head somehow at one point, but things flipped in a hurry. That's the way things go.
That's
but
the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. But he commented on how far down the booth was. I'm like, buddy, welcome to the SEC. We have big money boosters that take that 50-yard line area. So all the booths are going to be on the end, because in Jordan Hare, even the TV booths way down at the end, probably about the 20-yard line or so. So, hey, that's just the way it is now, I'm afraid.
I do this for every visiting radio crew, whether it's SEC or outside this. I give everybody a heads up on what they're coming into to our situation.
Right.
So
it's part of
they
it.
have an idea.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
not supposed to be comfortable on the road for anybody, and that includes the team broadcast crew. I think it's gonna be a good game this weekend. I know maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'd be surprised if Auburn doesn't play well this weekend. I really would.
I think it will be a good response for Auburn. We'll just have to find out if it's enough against a very, very good Georgia ball club this Saturday. I look forward to it. I look forward always to going to Athens. I look forward to watching this team and how it responds this week.
There you go. Andy, great stuff. And you join us each and every week thanks to our friends at Craneworks.
And part of Craneworks is Wasteworks. It's a Craneworks company. It provides roll-off dumpster rentals in the Birmingham area with a range of sizes and fast service. They are your source for local dumpster rentals. Visit wasteworksusa.com for a quote. Guys, have a great week.
Thanks, Andy. Andy Burcham, voice of the Auburn Tigers, joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline with us each and every week. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks. Take a little bit of an early peek at that one when we come back. And Greg has watched it a little bit more. Go back and discuss that Auburn film against Oklahoma a little bit more right after this. Before we get to a break, Greg, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberger's done an amazing job. They've taken care of me for a very long time. I know they'll take care of you as well. You walk in, you're going to be treated to just some of the best service that you'll ever find, regardless of what you're buying, whether it's a watch, jewelry. These are legacy pieces, and if you buy them, it might be in your family for generations. So go and check out Bromberg's in one of their 2 locations in Mountain Brook Village and the Summit. This is a group that sets the standard and will find that one-of-a-kind piece for you. If you want to go down the custom route, they can go there as well. They're the oldest business in the state, one of the nation's oldest family-owned and operated retailers. Enjoy that luxury shopping experience that you'll only find at Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village or the Summit, or you can shop online at brombergs.com.
All right, we'll discuss Auburn, Oklahoma. Look a little bit ahead to Auburn, Georgia next, right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Gonna get into a little discussion about this Auburn football team, kind of look back at the Oklahoma game, some of the things that took place. If you missed Read and React last night.
This is the first one I think I might have ever missed.
So we went back, Greg, and I showed some of the other, you mentioned the play. Take us through quickly again.
Yes.
8:21 a.m., Tuesday, October 1st on Jocks 94.5. Kind of what you were going through with Andy Burcham about not running the same play into pressure in back-to-back weeks.
Yes.
Just take us through kind of what you saw and maybe where the flaw was there for Auburn.
I would love to. These are segments that I really appreciate and enjoy.
You don't like Valet doesn't have my keys segment?
Or bad box score. Other than that, everything else is great.
We got some doozies today.
So here we go. All-timer coming up.
No,
here
not all-timer was yesterday, 90-7.
Are you cool about it? That's good to know. Okay.
All right. So we will preface this by saying if you don't like ball, it's probably a good time to change channel. We're getting in the weeds. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Arkansas, play 67. Okay. Play 67. Auburn offense against Arkansas defense. Play 67. And you'll be able to quickly look up what play it was because it was a touchdown. Catch and run. Auburn's down 17-7, I believe, at the time. And they are in an empty formation. In said empty formation, you have three receivers to the left. You have a bubble. You have a little in-breaking route. You have one that's a corner. Like, it's a very simple concept. To the right, you have double slant. It's an empty formation, moving right to left. I messed this up. I'm sorry. It's Arkansas plays 50. Oklahoma plays 67.
It's okay. Nobody else is looking up plays like that.
I apologize. I just want to make sure when they're sitting at home counting them, I just want them to know. It's a touchdown, throws a slant out the gate. This is working against a cover zero pressure that Arkansas calls. Cover zero means there's no safeties. They are overloading your protection, and you better get the ball out because you will get sacked if you don't get the ball out. All right. Zero pressure means you can't block them. Same exact pressure that Carson Beck threw an interception on the first interception to Damani Jackson last week. They tried to check to a tunnel screen. The receiver didn't get the check. Pick. Zero pressure means you better have an answer. Or you better beat it with the throw because you don't have enough blockers. Their play and their blitz beater in this situation against zero pressure is to throw the slant at the slot receiver. That's great. That's a great blitz beater. Perfect world, I would like to throw an outbreaking route because most of the time in cover zero, you're going to have inside leverage from the defensive back. So perfect world, outbreaker, but we're splitting hairs. You had some room. You could throw it. It's not a problem. They throw it, broken tackle to the house. Back into the game. I believe that's the one that made it 17-14.
I think so.
I think that's what it was. All right. Fast forward next week, right? 1 week. Just want to make sure. It's not like week 3 versus, and then you run the same thing again in week 11. This is 1 week later. Oklahoma shows the zero pressure where they're all completely walked up. All completely walked up. Zero pressure against an empty look. The exact same formation as Payton Thorne and Auburn had the week before. So they showed the zero pressure. Everybody walked up. They go to their blitz check. Oh, wouldn't you know? The blitz check this week is the exact same play that we ran last week for a touchdown. You know what? When you're doing your cards and you're at practice, if a team scores a touchdown on a play the week before, what do you think the odds are that the defense practiced that play this week?
I think fairly good.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. When they score or hit a big play, you're probably going to put that one in practice and practice against it so it doesn't happen to you. So Oklahoma clearly saw, hey, when they're in empty, there's their blitz beater.
What's your Arkansas play, 60?
Arkansas play 50.
50.
Okay. Oklahoma
Go ahead.
play 67. So they get into that cover zero look where everybody's walked up on the line. Auburn gets to their blitz check and boom, throws it to the exact same place, except guess who was in the window? That would be the dropout linebacker because they threw it exactly where they wanted you to throw it. Intercepted to the house, game, set, match, Boomer Sooner.
Can we go back to the safety for Arkansas on that Keandre Lambert-Smith touchdown, though?
Why is he so deep?
And why is he jumping an in-breaking route to the outside?
I don't know.
I never played DB, so I don't know.
I don't know about the jumping and in-breaking route to the outside.
Well,
but
it's a slant, and he goes outside of him.
Well, I mean,
do you think it was going to be an out? I just wonder where he's going.
I'm sure he probably just guessed. I mean, he's just trying to collision the receiver.
He thought, like you, it's going to be an out-breaking route. Since that's what you wanted.
That's where you should throw it. That's what it should be. But that's a conversation for a different day. Usually don't try to throw slants against inside leverage, but you know, what can you do?
Worked on that one.
So you get away with it. It's great. Great play. Touchdown makes the game competitive. You cannot run the same blitz beater 2 weeks in a row. You cannot do it under any circumstance. This is the Southeastern Conference. These coaches make $9 million a year. These coordinators, in some cases, make $2 million a year. You think that a play that you scored a touchdown on the week before, you're going to be able to run it out of the exact same look against the exact same defense? You think they're not going to see it and recognize it and acknowledge it? You can't do it. No, you can throw it to the same receiver. He can be your blitz outlet. But guess what? Hey, this week, guys, instead of a slant, like that safety's crashing, this week we're going to go with an out. We're going to go with a 5-yard out. That's our blitz beater this week. Hey, guys, instead of a slant or an out this week, we ran slant against Arkansas. We ran out against Oklahoma. This week, we're going to go tunnel screen. That's our blitz beater this week.
Same screen concept at the top, too.
Dude, it's the exact same play. All 5 receivers are doing the exact same thing. It's the exact same play. You cannot run the same play 2 weeks in a row. You can't. This is the Southeastern Conference. And if you do, you better get to it out of a different formation. You better get to it out of a different motion or a shift. I mean, this is like high school ball. Like our blitz beater in high school was the same thing over and over and over again. Like, guess what? I hit McKay Jacobson on slant. Like that Will linebacker blitz, McKay, take it. McKay played at BYU. Like you have to be able to adjust like week to week. Hey, did that last week. We burned that one. We can't use it again for at least 5 more weeks. You know why? Because every single team's breakdown is 4 games. 4 games. That's how many games that you use to prepare for the upcoming week. 4 games. So if you ran it against Arkansas, that means that play is dead out of that formation for 4 weeks. At the minimum. And it might be dead all season. So that's why the throw, people are killing Payton Thorne for it. To me, it's on the scheme. It's on the coaching staff. Like you can't have the same blitz beater in consecutive weeks. You just can't.
All right, so I want to go a step further with that because you said 4 games back, right? 4
yes.
games. Okay, so we'll continue down this path in a little bit of a different way because I'll counter you with what Oklahoma had done. It was a great call, but I'll counter you from the other side of maybe why it should have been known or at least had an idea. Before we go to break, tell our listeners about B-Dry.
B-Dry has been serving Alabama and customers here in the Birmingham area for 60 years. 60 years. So if you had your basement or crawl space worked on and waterproofed 60 years ago, they'll still come out and take care of it today because they have a life at the structure warranty. That is the strongest warranty in the country, and it's with the largest waterproofing company in the country and the only company that has a solution that stops all 5 ways water can enter your foundation. So go and call B-Dry now. You get the job done. You don't have to pay $1 for 12 months, and it's interest-free to make it even sweeter for you. So call B-Dry now to get the job done right with the strongest warranty and the best price. Call 942-1976, or you can visit bdryalabama.com.
All right, when we come back, there's a little bit more to this that maybe should have been recognized. We'll discuss that next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, go to Auburn, Arkansas, play 52, Greg.
Oh, well, stand by. Why didn't you give me a heads up
Why
in
were you
the
just, you had
5-minute break?
You had your laptop out. You could use it. Well, you can't. Why can't you get it now? Why do you have to have a different device now when you were looking at it before?
I wasn't. I was looking at a picture, a screenshot.
Oh.
Because I sent you the picture.
It's not important. You don't have to.
I'm going to. 52?
Correct. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. You can text into the show 205-834-9450. If you want to talk Auburn now, next, down the road, you can do that. 800-239-9569. Now will be the time to be able to get in. We're going to continue to nerd out on football here for just a moment.
Let's go.
This is before we do this, let me tell you about Wayne's quickly. You're probably not worried about your yard heading into the dormant season, but you need to be. And the reason you need to be is because next spring, you want it to be lush green, barefoot good. But the only way to make sure your yard looks that good next spring is to begin to take care of it now before the cold months get here. And Wayne's, Greg, can help our listeners do this.
Yeah, they can. Wayne's is I think they're amazing. And I've really have enjoyed using them the last several years. They've made living in my house much better, made our experience better. I've used the yard more frequency. And we know that our home is safe. So go and check out our friends at Wayne's. You can get the first month of Envirolawn treatment absolutely free if you use the offer code JOCKS. That's JOX, offer code JOCKS, by calling 866-WAYNES-1. That's 866-WAYNES-1, offer code JOCKS. You get the Envirolawn first month free, or you can go online at callwaynes.com.
All right, so this is third quarter, first and 10. Ball's on the 12 going in, 14-10, Auburn up. There are people, Greg, that will tell you that this, I guess they'll say mistake, is why Payton Thorne should not have made the other mistake with the pick six later in the game. But this is not even close to the same front. It's not close to the same look. It's not really close to the same play because it's an RPO off of an actual run fake. Like there is I don't know, there might not be a run option on this because he's looking at coverage. So, but no, it's an RPO because offensive line's coming off the ball. I mean, your linebacker actually blocks the linebacker, your guard blocks the linebacker that bats the ball down. So, yeah, that doesn't usually happen. But nonetheless, I wanted you to just see that play for the folks that actually that think that this should have been a deterrent for what Payton Thorne did later in the game. I would disagree with that and say that I don't really think the two had anything to do with one another.
I'm very confused at them trying to connect the dots there.
Right. Okay. So we can just move past that. That's just for the folks that say,
you're talking about the throwaway?
No, the linebacker tips it.
This is on play 52.
I believe so.
No.
I think it's play 52.
Because on play 52, he throws it away. On play 52, he throws it away as he's moving to his left.
The Arkansas game?
Yes.
No, play 52 is an RPO. He throws it and 11 bats it down.
Play 52 is a straight drop back. They play man free underneath, or they play. I
got play 52 right here. 3. That's it. RPO 11 knocks it down.
What year is that? Because this is play 52. Damian, 52 right there.
It does say 52.
Let me see yours.
2024 right there. 2024. I've got it.
9/21/24. Yeah, I don't know. What, and this isn't that yours is in the red zone?
I don't know, but mine's 9/28/24. So maybe they played Arkansas in back-to-back weeks and we didn't know about it.
Oh. Well, that's always a possibility.
No, I don't think so.
Third quarter, 58 seconds left. First and 10, ball and 12 going in.
Third quarter, 58 seconds left. All right.
Yeah. That's wild.
It is kind of crazy.
I mean, I don't understand how yours is different.
Gotta go back and check
the
script.
I don't play.
Two different Americas.
That's it. I mean,
gotta go back and check the script.
All right, so nonetheless, Greg will look at that one, but that goes down, and then you take that away and you say, okay, maybe he should have known because the linebacker did kind of drop and then bat down a quick throw, but I don't really think the two have to do with one another at all.
Are you on the Oklahoma tape? And you said Arkansas?
Yeah, Oklahoma. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay.
Now that'll do it.
Now we see.
No, I'm so done with you.
Did I say Arkansas?
My valet. Zip it. Now you're telling me the wrong games. Yes, you said Arkansas.
He's all out of whack,
Sorry,
man.
I am out of whack.
Gosh, you're a mess.
It's been a long couple
Play
days.
52. All right.
All right,
Play
now
50.
let's dial in. Now let's do
All
it.
right, here you go. Red zone. Yeah. Okay, it's 12 personnel, so not at all the
It's
same.
not the same. Yeah, but I'm just kind of clarifying for the
trips
folks.
alignment.
Okay.
How is that? It's an RPO. These are
There are just
completely
people that are
different plays.
saying he had a quick throw that was batted down by the linebacker, therefore he should have known. I just wanted to clarify for people, those two had nothing to do with one another.
Those are
So
not
just
even
move
close to
on.
the same.
All right, so here's what I did yesterday, and we talked about this on Read and React last night. So this pressure, which the first thing that I thought of is play 67 is the pick six, Greg, if you want to go to that.
Yes,
The first thing I
very
thought
aware.
of
Thank you.
is, okay, did he see this earlier in the game? Your answer to that is no. They did not run this pressure earlier in the game. There are people who will tell you because they saw a linebacker walked up that they ran this pressure earlier in the game. It was not the same look. They had a zero nose with both linebackers walked up, not the same look. What you have to have for the same look will be 6 down, or essentially 6 on the line of scrimmage. There were plays
And in
with
track stance.
There were plays with 5 and plays with 4, but not plays with 6. 6 is different when you're in empty because you have no other blocker. You can't pick that up. Now, how you handle that and how you manage that, that's on you. A lot of folks are going to slide it. I can't be mad at that because you really only have a couple of options.
There's nothing wrong
here.
with sliding it.
There's not.
There.
Here's why I may have had a problem with it. You said go back 4 games, right? That's how you scout? So
That's
let's go
usually
back to
your-
4
in your
games.
breakdown,
Let's
yeah.
go back to 4 games for Oklahoma, which I did yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Temple, they ran this pressure one time, or this sim pressure, this look, one time. Remember, both linebackers walked up, 6 defenders on the line of scrimmage, not 4, not 5. They backed out of it. Houston ran it twice. 6 defenders on the line of scrimmage, 2 linebackers walked up in the A gap. They dropped both times. They ran it twice against Tennessee. They dropped once. Both linebackers came on a double barrel twist one time. The one time that they pressured, 28 was not in the game. Danny Stutzman, who is probably a guy you need to be able to identify on this defense. Now, I don't know if that was injury related, substitution, if he was gassed. I have no idea how and why against Tennessee he wasn't in for that particular play. The majority of the time they're going to bail, which tells me if you wanted to try to pop it somehow and either go back and forth with both linebackers, you got to handle those A gaps first. You just have to. You could also sift this if you wanted to, where everybody just basically gives ground to gain ground and you take the nearest threat at that point in time. You slide it, somebody's probably
Please
getting
don't
home.
sift it, by the way.
You could.
Because I don't need to know which guy. I need to know which guy I got
Okay.
as a quarterback. Like you sift
fine.
it, then that creates gray area. So I'd rather have your big butt slide and unblock one, and I know which one I got.
The problem is
Ram
if
or
you,
Lion,
if you
easy.
slide it, okay, if I'm let's think about our concepts here. If you slide your protection, who has the opposite end man on the line of scrimmage most of the time? So if we slide left, who has the end man on the right side most times? All the offensive line's going left.
Tailback.
Yeah.
Running back.
Yeah.
Or if there's a tight end,
Tight
he's
end,
going to
yeah.
stay in, whatever. Okay. So we're not responsible for that. So if I'm Venables and I have half a brain and I show you this look and I think you're going to slide it, what both defenders am I definitely going to bring?
The 2 outside the
The
tackle.
end man's on the line of scrimmage because you don't have somebody to pick up one of them.
Mhm.
So I know those 2 are coming.
Yes.
That's common sense. And every other time they've run it, those 2 have come. Now, sometimes the backers have, and so there's other times inside guys have bailed out. My point in all of this is, no, you didn't see it in this game, but it has been shown. And they have run it, and they have run it the same way 4 out of 5 times, or 5 out of 6 times. So it was there. It was shown. We showed them to you last night on Read and React that you at least had a visual of how this went down most of the time. And as Greg stated, then from a route perception, probably unacceptable to say, this is what's been presented and this is how you answered it. So it was prepared for that way. Great play by Kip Lewis. Great call by that Oklahoma staff. But it just,
You gave them exactly what they wanted. It was a gift. I mean, they knew exactly where you were going.
also like what,
That's all done in pregame.
okay, I just want to ask you this because you understand this better than I do. Trips to the top to the field, which means we got a lot of green to work with up there. Off coverage, man coverage, right?
Yeah.
3-on-3 up top. You got plenty of cushion. Why, if you have that screen concept to the top, why don't you
want to throw
it?
a bubble versus man? That's a blow up. You got to get out of it.
Even with that cushion?
That's your zone beater. Left side zone beater, right side man beater. Your bubble, your snag corner concept, that's your zone beater. Your man beater are your double slants. But what I would recommend, given it's cover 0, probably not having double slants as your man beater again. Whip that inside receiver, out route, quick out route, tunnel screen. Even throw a stock fade. Corner routes are my favorite routes versus 0, but you might not have enough time for that. You would need to have to slide the line to your right and roll the quarterback in that direction. You have to move the pocket to be able to get a corner off.
Which brings me to my last point here, and this is, I understand that we're getting fairly advanced here.
It's not that advanced.
I understand that, but let's just pretend like it is. So you're telling me on this play, based on the routes you saw in the previous game and what's being shown, that Payton Thorne pretty much knew he was throwing the slant, right?
100%.
Why in God's name would you slide the protection left?
Because you have the unblocked guy that is in the quarterback's front side, so that I can.
So you
see.
can throw right into him.
Yes, you want to throw under pressure always, so you can see it.
On that quick of a throw, you want to, because that's part of the deal. Is that guy's in his face? Did he not get it out in time?
No, I think most quarterbacks would rather see the pressure. You want to attack pressure.
I understand you guys are scared to get hit, and you want to know when you're going to get hit.
I just want to know how much time I have. What if that guy's hesitation? What if that guy hesitates for a second?
Because he sees you already.
And because I've already got the ball cocked and ready to go, and I have more time than I think. On the backside, I'm just guessing when that guy gets there.
Okay, but you also you're drifting like 3 yards back.
Yeah, to buy just another half second.
But if you handle that initially, you slide it that way, that's taken care of. I can throw that slant. It doesn't matter
what about my backside?
Who cares? The ball's out.
I'd rather see the guy come. I know that you want to get hit from the blind side.
I don't want to get hit at all, but I'm just saying.
Why don't you, as a center?
Why would I allow someone to interfere with my passing lane when I know I can negate that?
You know what? Let me do it. It's not because it's not a passing lane. It shouldn't be a problem. The passing lane's an issue. If you can't get it around a defender,
play, Greg, it is a problem. The guy's right in his face.
If you can't get it around a defender, that's on you. Let me ask you a question. If you are trying to block a blitzing linebacker, what if I told you, hey, Cole, the second you snap it, you have to turn around and try to block him from behind? You have to box him out, but you can't see him. You got to box him out.
It's called a butt block. We do it on outside zone all the time.
I get it. But is it harder to do that? Is it harder to block?
Yes, it's not easy.
Okay, so I'd rather, same thing for quarterback. Like, I'd rather have my backside taken care of. Hey, backside's handled. I want to see who's going to get me from the front side. So I'm fine with the sliding left. I prefer it slide left. 100%. Unless we move the pocket.
I think I'm with you if it is an exterior pressure. So if, let's say, our nickel walks up on the outside and he's going to come in, or we get a corner crash, or an inside linebacker walks up outside the end. This is a defensive end in a 3-point stance lined up almost on the tackle.
Yes.
That's not one that I feel like we should give a free runner to our quarterback with. But we agree to disagree on that one. And the bad part is they really only rush 2 on the play, and one of them gets home. But that's a lot of that is Monday morning quarterback. Some of that, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
The things that Greg brought up and having seen this pressure on film, those are things that you could have done something about.
Correct. I just would have had a different blitz
And
beater.
it was not shown earlier in the game for the folks that say same thing happened earlier. It did not. It wasn't even close, actually.
You just have to have a different blitz beater. You can't run the same blitz beater 2 weeks in a row. An empty. Same formation. Same look. Same side. Can't do it 2 weeks in a row. Just can't.
Is there anything you alter with the throw there knowing that there's no safety? Or do you just throw the slant?
No, slant's slant.
Yeah.
You body him up. Slant is not a good blitz beater when you're getting cover 0. It's a good blitz beater if you're getting man-free pressure. Because man-free pressure, because of the middle safety in the middle of the field, you have outside leverage. They're trying to funnel everything to the inside. Slant's a good blitz beater, but slant is a dangerous blitz beater because you could always have guys come from inside out. Zone pressures kill you in that situation. Like, I don't like slants as blitz beaters unless it's to the outside receiver. Now, slant's the most advanceable route in football. just like they did against Arkansas. You break one tackle, you're out the gate.
Mhm.
See ya. So, like, yeah, the risk reward, some people like to roll those dice. I think it's more dangerous. As a quarterback, I never felt comfortable throwing an in-breaking route like that against zero coverage, ever.
Helps when your safety's going to the sideline also.
I've been told that.
All right. We tried to tackle that situation for you. I've tackled a lot of game day meals in my time. Nothing compares to the flavor boost from Dale's Seasoning. If you're heading to a tailgate, this marinade is your MVP. 30 minutes with Dale's, and your meats and vegetables are transformed from bland to bold. Ribs, burgers, veggies. If you're grilling those up, Dale's versatility is a game changer. Make every bite count and score big with Dale's Seasoning. Back with more Mac and Cube, getting about it next on Jocks 94.5. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We celebrate individual greatness each and every week right here on the show. We get about it. And there are a couple of easy candidates this week. And it doesn't always have to be in a loss. I mean, sometimes player can win still, right? Like Boise running back Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
26 carries, 259 yards, 4 touchdowns. Holy moly. I went and watched this film last night, Greg. This dude's unbelievable.
No,
the body control, like
he's legit.
He's one of those backs where his upper body stays still, but his hips and legs are doing all the movement for him. Like you can see why it's easy for him to juke people because his legs are kind of back and forth, but his shoulders just stay square. And you're like, how is that happening? Absolutely about it for the Boise running back over the weekend and really for the whole season. By the way,
dude, he's a monster, dude. I mean, he's
unbelievable.
He's really, really good and really talented. And I think he is it's kind of fun to see a guy that, could have probably gotten a big payday.
Yep.
I mean, let's just be real. Like, he probably could have gotten a big payday, opted not to. And as a result, I like that he's in the Heisman mix. You know what I mean? Will he win it? Probably not, but it's cool to see a guy get some love.
Yeah.
In a little bit of a smaller setting. Lots of good bad about it. You know me, I always like to try to find somebody on defense. So I am going to go with Nick Scorton.
What?
Did you watch Nick Scorton?
Bro, he
Dude.
is insane.
Dude.
The things, and he did things to affect the game that aren't in the box score. Like he's
Dude.
that plan was really good too, by the way.
It's really good. So Nick Scorton, D lineman, A&M. I'm watching this tape. I'm like, oh my, and
I like 18 a lot too. He's got juice off.
They got 4 guys that I think are a real problem for just about everybody. I mean, they are very solid up front. And where was that a couple weeks ago? I might add. Like, goodness gracious alive. But against Arkansas, the numbers aren't eye popping. He had 4 tackles for loss, which
is really good in and of itself.
Very good.
Did a lot more than that.
But there was so many more plays. He had a forced fumble. He had 6 pressures. He had actually a couple plays where he dropped in coverage. Like, he was all over the field. And this was kind of what I think A&M thought they were getting when they brought him in.
Yes.
And he lived up to the billing this past weekend. So Nick Scorton was.
About it.
You bet he was. Well, guys, I'm taking you to uncharted territory. How about a tight end? Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're talking about
who?
A tight end from the MAC of all places. Bowling Green tight end, Harold Fannin Jr.
I'm telling you, he's really. I saw him against A&M. He's good.
12 catches, 192 yards, and a tutty. He did lose to Old Dominion, 30-27, but it wasn't because of him. 12 catches, 192 yards, 1 touchdown. Harold Fannin Jr. was.
About it.
I'm telling you, they got an edge guy that's really good too. John?
I want to give it to Chandler Morris, who went 22 of 34 for 439 yards and 5 touchdowns with no interceptions. But I got to give it to a guy who would make the all-name team, Omega Blake from Charlotte. 5 catches, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Oh,
okay.
That's a day.
But the name Mega Blake, he gets it.
I'm going to throw one extra one out. This is a bonus. Kent State goes to 0-5. Tommy Ulatowski, 15 of 28, 345, 3 touchdowns passing.
follow Greg McElroy and Cubelic. Matter of fact, put it real quick before we get out of here. Picture number 6, Anita. This is your co-host, Cole Cubelic, old office. Hey, listen, he never smiles. There he is right there. Great guy, though. He's like you, well prepared.
He's fine.
He's well prepared.
He's okay.
He's
If y'all have him though, you're gonna need to up the buffet if he comes by, because I'm thinking that he needs at least one of those troughs of Easy Mac or whatever that was over there, or the hamburger helper that was delicious, I might add. He'll take one of those things down by himself. So.
Did you legit eat hamburger helper?
Bro, I don't know what they
Little
had.
Rock touchdown?
I don't know
Club?
what they had, but it was like a hamburger helper.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I'm telling you, this thing, it had to have been the size of this table. I mean, it was, I could not have put my arms around it. That's how big this thing was. I would like to see you put a dent in that thing. I think you might be able to take the whole thing down.
Jeez.
Skinny Cole might not, but back in the day, you would have given it all you
I
got.
can still do some work.
Yeah.
No, it's week 6.
Yeah,
Right.
That was,
I'm getting
hey, look,
hungrier.
I'm not big on like the, touchdown club buffets very often. That one in Little Rock, that thing was popping.
It's a little different.
They had some cornbread that was unbelievable. You know the cornbread with a little spice to it.
Oh, jalapenos
You know what I
in
mean?
there.
Just a little spice.
Best.
Okay.
Just a little spice. It was ripping.
Yeah, we went to this place in Austin. I can't remember the name. It was like Garden Ash or Rose Petal Dirt, something weird.
What?
I don't know. The name of the place. It was good though.
It sounds like a place in Homewood.
Nah, Tom picked it. It's
Okay, that tracks.
but they had a cornbread app, and it's like you're talking about. It had the little glaze on the top.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it had a little kick to it. Oh man, you dominate that.
You know what we
It's
did
so
for
good.
lunch on Friday? I constantly completely forgot about it. We did City Grocery for lunch.
Whew.
Never done City Grocery for lunch. Did you know they had a lunch menu?
I did not know that. No,
They had a roast
I
beef
apologize
debris
to John
po'
Curtis
boy.
for not knowing that.
Huh.
That feels dangerous though. For lunch.
I mean,
It's a lot.
I will admit, I had hoped to be a little more productive in the afternoon,
Yeah,
Couldn't do it.
but I wasn't about it.
The itis.
need a little more. Need a walk after that one. 800-239-9569. You want to get in? Continue talking football. Billy Lucci's coming up in 20 minutes. The latest on. It feels like the A&M quarterback situation is kind of taking care of itself, even though we know Coach Elko said that's going to be a game time decision every week moving forward. Some other injuries, the health of that team, and just kind of where the mindset is, as they are currently a 2-point favorite at home against Missouri Saturday morning. Is that line odd to you, Greg? Does that feel about
You
right?
think?
It's a little weird to me. And Greg says, if it's weird, stay away from
Couple weird
it. If
lines
it
this
doesn't make
weekend.
sense,
Oh, boy.
stay away from it.
There's a couple weird ones. We're starting to get to weird season when it comes to some of these lines.
It's never weird when you call Polar Bear Services. They know exactly what to do.
Yeah, they'll take great care of you. They can do a lot of different things around your house as well. And right now, we're kind of in the middle of when we are starting to really need our furnace. So make sure that your system's running properly. Get a checkup with the pros at Polar Bear Services, your independent trained dealer. They do the system tune-up, the duct clean, the repair, new installation. They also can help you with electrical work, like whole home generators. They can help you with plumbing, and they're really all over the state. So remember, if you have a problem with electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
Let's go to Bill in Birmingham. He wants to talk in-game adjustments. Welcome into the show, Bill.
Thank you. Greg, you mentioned, I think it was right before the season started, that you felt like Georgia might be a little bit weak on the edges on defense. And obviously we had some success there the other night, and then they made the adjustment. My question to you is, well, actually there's two questions. First question is, when they made that adjustment, where would that have made them vulnerable? And secondly, if we do play them again, how do you think Alabama's offensive coordinator will make that adjustment?
So I don't know if I'd go as far as to say they're weak on the edges. That feels aggressive. Remember, it's always by Georgia's standards, right? It's always by.
I might have overstated.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No,
like
don't worry about it. It's but we just always have to acknowledge, like when I say Bama's not the same at fill in the blank, it's because I'm comparing them to 2015 or 2016. Right. Like, okay, they're not as good at D tackle. Yeah, because they don't have Deron Payne rotating with Quinnen Williams, rotating with Deshaun Hand. All right. So when I look at Georgia, I think about the best versions of Georgia. They had game wreckers on the edges of the defense. That is not the case this year. Like Chaz Chambliss is solid. He's a good teammate. He's a good player. He plays his tail off. He plays insanely hard. But they are occasionally unaware on the edges. They lose the ball a lot. I think their linebackers are super athletic. I think they lose the ball a lot. I think awareness is something that is missing right now in the front seven defensively sometimes with Georgia. Athleticism is not. They're as athletic as anybody in the sport. But I think awareness is something that is needing to be improved. Mykel Williams is not 100% either. So him getting back to 100% at some point will be beneficial to the edges. And I think the biggest difference between Georgia this year and the last three is their secondary. I don't think they're as good in the secondary. I think they're fine. I think they got talent. I think they have pros, but I don't think they have top 10 picks at corner. You know, I don't think Malachi Starks is. I don't think he can do it by himself. And I didn't think he played terrible the other night by his standards. By Malachi's standards,
couple bad angles.
First half of that football game was very out of character. So he's not one I'm worried about. But the other three, I think they're good, solid players. I don't think they're crazy elite, which is a big difference from what Georgia had last year and from what they had in their national championship winning years of 21 and 22. So I think if you have a good court, you got to be able to block them still. That's always where it starts with Georgia. You got to be able to block them. You got to stay on schedule because if you get in obvious pass situations, you're in trouble. But if you can block them, I think you can get to them downfield.
I want to go back to the point that I think the caller was making, and I can remember what you and I discussed before the season, and it was, I don't think it was that we didn't think Georgia was good on the edge. Now, was it, Jarvis Jones and some of these guys? Like, no, but Mykel Williams had the ability to be, pretty favorable. We didn't like how aggressive the edges played some of the times for that Georgia defense. It gets them in trouble. It's almost too aggressive. Like
correct.
It's turn and run directly at a puller, which is just, you're taking yourself out of a play a lot of times.
Yes.
But I also want to give Nick Sheridan some credit on this because, see if you agree with me here, Greg. There was a lot of Dan Mullen in this plan, specifically early. Formations into the boundary. The wheel route that you motion the back into the back. That's trips.
Is it a wheel route or a wheel route?
Trips into the boundary.
Only the wheel is a route.
Trips into the boundary. Yes. Motion the back to the backfield. Pause for a second. I think that was huge because it froze the linebacker for a second, and then with the wheel route goes around. And it's a great throw from Jalen.
Great throw, but you also had the shallow coming. Like if you don't throw the touchdown to Jam, you got Ryan Williams on a walk-in on the shallow because you identified man zone.
Correct.
All because of formation into the boundary and because of the motion.
And then the Jalen Milroe long run with the big Jam Miller block where it popped the helmet off. And that was one of the bad angles by Malachi in the game. Nub tied into boundary. And so give Nick Sheridan credit for some of the formations that he showed. Like we've had Dan on the show before and asked him straight up, like, how did you have so much success against that defense? And he talked about formation into the boundaries, don't always bump the safeties that they need to. Essentially, they'll present you with the matchups that you want. And if you don't get them, you can usually motion back to get the matchup that you want if they're going to lock in on your one go-to guy. It's why he had so much success with Kyle Pitts because the attention was on Kadarius Toney, correct? In that SEC championship game. So Nick Sheridan had a great plan in this game. It wasn't just the play calls. It was the formations and then some of the movement pre-snap that he was able to get some matchups and get some favorable looks that he wanted. So I know people are concerned about why that didn't continue for 4 quarters, but Kirby Smart has a great staff. Glenn Schumann's awesome. Like they're not going to let you sit there and do the same things for 4 quarters. So that's not the way it works. But he does deserve credit for the plan that he put together because I thought it was phenomenal with what he did and how he sort of got some of the looks that he wanted and did some of the things that he wanted. Gusty Goulas Group can get you what you want. If you're looking for a new home or looking for top dollar for your home, they've served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Call 205-542-1996 or visit gustygoulasgroup.com today, and they're going to help you get packing. Over 835-star Google reviews, brokered by eXp Realty. They've been marketing. And if you want to know the value for your home right now, go to gustygoulasgroup.com, button at the top of your page. Smash that button. Very little information. You can find out the value of your home today. Gusty Goulas Group wants to help you get into a new home, get top dollar for your home. Call 542-1996, or visit gustygoulisgroup.com. You've said that you think Auburn can be competitive this week.
I do.
What did you see that you liked offensively that not they can maybe do again, but they can do again and can be built upon moving forward?
I think they have quarterback run. I'm not saying that he's as dynamic as Milroe, but I think Payton can give you something in the quarterback run game. I think their offensive line is going to get their butt kicked potentially if they don't play a little better, for sure. But I do think that group played a little better last week against Oklahoma. Like, I like Oklahoma up front defensively. How would you assess the offensive line play last week?
For Auburn?
Yeah.
Not great.
Not terrible.
Better.
I've seen worse.
Well, yes.
From them. Like, I thought they looked better last week than they had at any point in the first 4 weeks. I'm not giving them the Joe Moore.
No.
I'm not even putting them on the watch list.
Well, they're there because they all are, but I'm not sure they're going to be a
I think
mid-season honor roll team.
I think they're going to hold up okay. I really do. But their receivers got to win. I mean, simple as that. Receivers got to win. I think Keandre Lambert will. I think Keandre Lambert Smith will give you that. I really like him. I think he's a really
having
solid
a really
player.
good year.
He's having a great year. He's super reliable. Plays his tail off. If I got the same amount of strain from every receiver that I got from him, I'd feel great about it. Everyone's crediting a guy chasing down an interception, which is awesome. I wish I got that much energy and effort on every play. But I look at it and I think that this is a receiver group that does have talent. I think Malcolm Sims is a good player. I think Robert Lewis has some speed, some athleticism. I think he can make you miss. Defensively, I'm a little concerned for them. But you got to kind of hope that maybe Georgia's a little deflated after their comeback bid came up short. Let's just acknowledge the elephant in the room. Auburn needs Georgia to play poorly. But if Georgia's a little off, like they've been at times this year, and Auburn has their best stuff, there's no reason why this thing can't be a 4-quarter game. The Stars have to align? Absolutely. But they've aligned in the past.
But I don't feel like Georgia is in position to play anywhere near the bully ball offensively that they have in the past. And that may play in Auburn's hands a little bit.
Agree. They're one-dimensional. Now, part of it is circumstantial. Look at last week's game. They had to throw it. Had to become a throw-a-thon.
Sure.
There are very few teams in college football right now rely more on the pass than Georgia. They're 65-35 pass to run.
Ooh.
That's a lot, boys. Do you realize that 35% run is 125th in college football? 125th.
That's the hunch.
You know, triple dig. You know who that 126 through 134 is like all variations of the air raid. So it's like, it's tricky, but like I said, circumstantial play calling last week because the game got away from you. But they're going to have to lean on the run game a little more if they're going to become the team that they're capable of becoming.
Yeah, Georgia currently 58th nationally in pass attempts on the season. Just not kind of where you expect them to live, specifically in a Mike Bobo offense. Going to be much more balanced.
They've also had a bye week, so it's hard to take into the attempts. I look more at like rates because everyone's got freaking 7 buys now. Golly. So I look at rates, but yeah, 35% run rate is 125th.
Ooh.
65% pass rate is
27th in attempts per game. So there you go.
Oh yeah, 27th attempts per game. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
and they're chunk yardage team.
Want to do it that way? It definitely makes a lot more sense. So, and I think Auburn from you brought up Jalen McLeod a little bit earlier, and I'm interested just to get your thoughts on how they're using him. I think I did not expect his linebacker instincts to be near as good as they are off the ball. I mean, and yeah. I kind of love how DJ mixes him up and play. I mean, he can play just a regular linebacker spot for you. He's fine. And then he can come obviously rush the passer. I think it makes him more valuable. I think it gives you different ways to combat different formations and personnel groupings because he's just that versatile. But what have been your thoughts on just watching him operate this year?
I actually think his versatility has been one of the bright spots and one of the bigger surprises that I've had this season. I like their depth at the second level, generally speaking. So I don't feel like he's a guy that has to live off the ball. He's obviously at 6 foot 230. Like how much, maybe he's 6'1". I don't know. Where is he listed at?
He's about 6'2", I think.
Yeah, that's under.
Probably agree.
Okay, but I think he's such a disruptor. And if I were game planning against him, here's how I'm game planning. All right, 35 is always down. Okay, so what you guys need to know when we are preparing for to play against the defense, you declare who's big and who's little. Big needs to be accounted for by the offensive line. Okay, so it's pretty obvious who those guys are: Kendrick Falk, Isaiah Rakes, Phillip Bleedy, Jason Jones, Trill Carter. Like those guys are all going to be big, right? Yep. Doesn't take an expert to realize that if you're 330, you're probably a big. Then you got to decide, all right, so those three guys are taken care of by the offensive line at all times. Who else should the offensive line be responsible for? And 35 would be the guy for sure that we're starting with. So you have to be really crafty to be able to move him around, and it puts a lot of strain on the communication amongst the offensive line because he could be lined up play side, he could be lined up backside, he could be lined up right in the middle. And now I have to have different mechanics from a center standpoint. All right, hey, he's the left, we got to go left. Hey, he's right, we got to go right. Oh, he started left, now he's off the ball. We got to recommunicate and retrack where he's at. Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
So I really like how they're using him. And
you can counter 24 with that, too, because he's same thing. The Kerryon Crawford kid, kind
he's
of the same
just,
way.
Yeah, he's the same guy. He's just a slightly lesser. I think he's
lesser off the ball.
I think he's not, I don't think he's anywhere near as good off the ball, but he just doesn't bring quite as much thump. Quite as much intensity. Like he's big, he's strong, he's not as twitchy.
Yeah, he doesn't have as much pop. I get it. Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Not being hating. He's just not the same guy. Like I'm way more concerned about 35 than I am 24, even though 24 is very solid.
But it was interesting what you said to Andy Burcham, that group might be the strength of the football team. You're talking about the linebacker position.
I don't know how you can make an argument that it's not.
I just don't think a lot of people went into the season maybe projecting that or thinking that. Thought it could be pretty good. Thought it could be solid, but just maybe not to what it's been so far. I mean, Austin Keys downhill has been fantastic. Eugene Asante, specifically when pressuring, has been pretty good. Now, out in space, sideline to sideline, great. Pressuring, really like him, but kind of just standing still, he can get lost a little bit, but the intensity is there, and that's what you want. That's what you need. But then you see like this DeMarcus Riddick in this game, like 16 was thumping people, and I literally had to go be like, who is?
I didn't know who he was.
I was like, I had to go back and look again, but he was impressive. Some of the stuff that he was doing, he brought it and was playing hard. So Mousie's been pretty good at times for that group. So I haven't thought of it the way that you said it, but I feel like it's a pretty good point that might be the strength of this football team so far this season.
I don't know if you can make a case that it's not. I think it's actually by a decent margin. I mean, who else is in the mix? Running back with the ball security situations? No disrespect. Just
no.
I mean, okay, high side, yeah, ceiling, sure.
Receiver's been pretty good, but no, I don't think collectively there's hasn't been that.
Don't. They're in the doghouse with me for at least 24 more hours.
Attaboy.
If I see another lazy route at the top of stem, a guy not running off, he's in a clear out route, take off. Like there's just little things.
Theose are sins. Those are wide receiver sins.
No,
man.
It's just little things. It's just understanding the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Like you got young guys. There's not anything to be. You just need to understand that while your piece of the puzzle might be smaller than say Keandre Lambert-Smith on this particular play, your route matters. You know, and I just think that's all part of maturing and maturation process. You're not getting the looks you want. You have a drop early. You're in the doghouse mentally. Your own mental. It's just they're young and they play young, and it's frustrating.
All right, if you have a lack of energy, not feeling young anymore, if you get poor sleep, if you feel on edge, could be the effects of low testosterone. Game Day Men's Health wants to help you. And here's how they're going to do it. You go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now, schedule a free consultation. Yes, it's free. What are you going to get with that? Well, you're going to get a free testosterone test, a free PSA test. They're going to give you a baseline of kind of where your health is right now, see how they can help you feel better. Maybe it's just weight loss. They have multiple programs for that they want to help you with as well. A lot of different things that they can do to help your daily routine better at Game Day Men's Health. Mention Cube, save 10% on any service that they have. And also keep in mind, Minimal upfront cost for all the programs Game Day Men's Health offers. You don't get that everywhere here in town. Locker room environment, low stress, not going to try to push you in anything that you don't want. GameDayMen'sHealth.com, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Schedule that free consultation. Just go see. Maybe they can help you feel better like they have for me. All right, when we come back, Billy Lucci on what's next for Texas A&M. Is the quarterback situation solved? We'll discuss that and more next right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Tuesday, October 1st, 9:23 a.m. Going to get Billy Lucci here in just a moment. Don't forget, you can listen online, jocksfm.com. Watch us live on YouTube every day. Just search Jocks945.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year. They're the national champions. They do an amazing job of getting things taken care of. And I'm telling you, I have now shopped and purchased from them twice. Have my third order from them on order right now. Have had a tremendous experience with all the people at Bill Smith Buick GMC. Andy Cole, Jonathan Yeager, they go above and beyond to make sure you have that one-of-a-kind experience. You go get yourself a GMC Sierra, more than 5 figures off the list price. You just can't find that deal anywhere else. You're going to see they sell more GMCs than anyone else in the Southeast because nobody can match them on price and service. So go take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. Exit 310, Highway 31. Up I-65. You can also shop online. Have delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
Quickly, a comment via the YouTube chat. Brody Knight tweets it or texts in, comments in. Very important this ends well. Not the last time Cole is going to be valeting at said place. That might not be true. This might be it.
I want you on the out. I turned you on to American flights direct to and from Charlotte and Dallas. Those have not worked out great. But even in your delays, even in your delays, you might still be in a better spot. Now I'm going to turn you on to hourly parking. I'm going to get you there.
Yes. If you missed the beginning of the show, we had an issue with valet over the weekend where a lady reached out to my wife because she shops at my wife's online clothing store and had my keys to my vehicle in her car, leaving said place after also valeting there. And the question was, how do you handle that? Because I don't have my vehicle back yet, but I do have my keys in my possession. And interestingly enough, didn't get a text last night asking when I was going to be there.
Oh,
is when I normally do when I'm running late.
Oh, boy.
Billy Lucci of TexAgs.com joining us now on the Buyers Right Hotline. Billy, what would you do if a random person reached out to you and said they had your keys to your vehicle that had been valeted somewhere?
Man, I think I would be like, that sounds about right for me. I would somehow figure out how it was my fault and not the valet's, because I'm sure I'd have done something wrong, Cole, that screwed the valet up that led to that happening. I mean, if I had $1 for every time I've left my keys, it's not the keys I worry about. It's the wallet and things like that, because keys, I can't go anywhere. So as many times as I've left a restaurant or a place without my keys, it's okay. It's the wallet that gets me time and time again.
You got to get the Apple things, the AirTags. I had to get them.
Yeah, that is true.
They have saved me multiple times. So,
all right. What did you do? I know you've already said it.
I haven't done. No, I haven't. I haven't yet. My car is there. I have the keys to my car in my possession, and my car's in valet. I got home last night. It was too late. I just had to take an Uber home, and so I'll go figure it out today. But do I just go get my car and leave? Do I tell them? Do I pull up and ask them to go retrieve said car, knowing they're not going to be able to get it?
I would just go get it and leave. A lot of people would complain, try to get some kind of like free months or free next trip valet. I'm just like, you know what?
And then you save all the freebies for when you go and have to park for a personal trip. That's a good call.
That is true. That is true. I wouldn't ask for it. I would maybe just let them know what happened and let them respond accordingly.
There you go. All right. We know Coach Elko said that this quarterback situation is going to be a game time decision for the rest of the season. Are we past that? Is Marcel Reed just the guy yet?
I don't know, Cole. I really don't. I mean, that's a bad answer, but I think that's the true answer. Like, I think that's what he means by, on Saturday, I thought there was a chance for Marcel to kind of nail that down to some degree, as much as he could. Like with had the offense gone up and down the field, and I'm not saying a 49-point game, but the Aggies go out and score 4 touchdowns, 39 points. The offense struggled for a good part of that game, and it was particularly the passing game. Arkansas, I think I saw something where the last 2 weeks, A&M has faced more 8-9-man boxes than any team in college football. And there were some plays to be had down the field in the passing game. The Aggies connected on one, really, and that was about it. And, they punted 9 times on 11 true possessions. There was one where they took over at the 10-yard line, so you're obviously not going to hopefully not punt from that one. So on 11 other actual possessions, they punted 9 times. So it wasn't – but at the same time, and Greg's watching these games and can tell us, but, like, Marcel checked so many of the boxes I want in my quarterback. The dual threat ability, the ability to make something when it's not there, giving Colin Klein that run game element. He's so calm, cool, and collected. I mean, the way this guy's played in the swamp and at Jerry World and you guys have probably done games there. It's like not like the Iron Bowl or the Red River, but it's like a significant bowl game environment. It's not just completely friendly environment. You're playing in that stadium, and the way his poise, his presence, even the last 2 weeks in the fourth quarter of games, he's impressed the hell out of me. And I just think he's got to keep developing as a passer. And I think he's one of those games away from kind of locking it down. And if there's a there's no better time than this weekend with Missouri, and I know they haven't done much offensively yet against the teams they've played that matter, but they can. It's in them, and this might be a game where the Aggies have to score some points. So if Connor come back today, I don't know which way Mike Elko would go with it. I'm kind of leaning towards thinking with a bye week next week, the Mississippi State week might be the time that it's kind of decision time for Elko and Colin Klein in terms of what they do with quarterback.
What do you make of just the offensive performances in general? I think obviously with Reed under center, it's a different animal. I think it's probably playing a little more into their strengths. So I'll be really curious to see how much this offense and this passing game continue to evolve. But Reed's fine thrower. He's just not a great thrower at this point of his career. So do you sense that at some point you're not going to be able to run it on some folks and maybe you have to lean a little bit more on the passing game? Therefore, Wigman might give you more chances. Is that a possibility?
I think it's a possibility, yes. And that's kind of where I was going with it. Like, if Marcel, let's say this weekend, and I'm seeing progress, I really am. Like, I tried to tell people this, and after that Florida game, no one wanted to believe me, and really after the Notre Dame game, because A&M fans themselves were so down on Connor. And he did play a bad game, but it's like, okay, good Notre Dame defense, first game in a new system, receivers aren't great, and he was coming off he hadn't played in the game in a year. So people, I felt, were so quick to write him off. And then Marcel comes in, and I cautioned against there's going to be growing pains in terms of what I thought mainly is the passing game and going through the progressions and playing within what the offense schemes up. What I wasn't expecting when I said growing pains was him to be so good in the areas of, like I said, the fourth quarter of games and the poise. And I think he's at like 8 total touchdowns, no turnovers. Those things have really impressed me about him. He's a leader. He's a winner. The team embraces him. But yeah, if I know they're doing a good job of running against defenses designed to stop it, but I do think what you are seeing them do is take away a little bit of Marcel's ability to take off and kill teams with the way they're playing defense. So at some point, I don't know what the great defenses they play are this year. I know South Carolina looks stout. I know, even Auburn, for all that's going on over there, that looks like a defense that's as good or better than what Arkansas puts out there. So I don't know how many they've got left. Texas, obviously, at the end of the season, but it'll be interesting, Greg, if there comes a game where if Connor is healthy and you're talking about it's a tight game in this, in the middle portions of that football game, and the offenses, neither one of the offenses are doing anything. That's where it's, I think, going to get interesting. But really, it's not a discussion right now because Wigman's missed, 3 games, and as of yesterday, hadn't practiced yet. So, I mean, I kind of go back to what Mike Tomlin said when he was asked about Wilson and Fields a couple weeks ago. He said, I've come to learn, like, I'll address that when I need to. We'll worry about that when it becomes something to worry about. In other words, we're just going to play with what we have right now. And I think Marcel's done a fine job, but I think just what you said, Greg, you're watching the games, and there's a lot to be impressed with and excited about, but then there's also that fact of sometimes you're going to have to attack over the top and connect on those passes and throw for 250, 300 yards against an SEC defense in order to win.
That's totally fair. Billy Lucci of TexAgs.com joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline. Missouri coming to town this weekend. Is it defensively? Greg and I were raving about Nick Gordon earlier in the show. I don't think I expect him to be this good. The defensive line across the board has been great. What have been the staff's thoughts of the second and third level of this defense so far this year?
I think they're pleased with it. I think they're watching the games thinking they're getting a lot better. I think they thought they had their best game against Arkansas on Saturday. And I'm mainly talking about the secondary. Torian York, to me, in this defense is having to learn how to play a little more in space, and there's no more Edger and Cooper there beside him. So, as a sophomore, he's having to make that adjustment, whereas last year I don't think he had to do as much of it. But I've liked how Scooby Williams has played. Damian Sanford's a guy that you're talking about, like guys that are fast rising on the defensive side of the ball. He's one. But I think this week in the secondary, they were pretty pleased. Des Ricks made a big play. They finally inserted him into the starting lineup. Dalton Brooks has missed essentially an entire game, or really 2 whole games because of targeting penalties. You saw what he can do when he's out there for 4 quarters Saturday, because he's a guy they were really fired up about. So not having him for 2 games, Bryce Anderson's been banged up. And then when Tyreek Chappelle tore his ACL during Florida week prep, he was the nickel that Elko and Bateman were really fired up about. So to me, it's taken them a couple weeks to adjust. So you guys are down there. BJ Mays out of UAB and Jaden Hill out of Florida now look like they're kind of in a rotation there, with Hill being the more effective blitzer and kind of making plays around the line of scrimmage, and Mays maybe being a lot better in coverage. So I think there's still kind of a work in progress in the secondary, but Ricks, Will Lee, Dalton Brooks, Bryce Anderson, and Marcus Ratcliffe, who's got 3 interceptions and can come downhill and hit you. I think that's kind of the nucleus that you're going to see when games are, on the line in the SEC moving forward.
Finally, when you evaluate Mike Elko's first few weeks, some high highs, some low lows, how would you kind of grade where the program's at through the first month of his tenure?
Greg, I think it's about where I thought. 4-1. I think probably all 3 of us would have been looking at that schedule and been right around that line. Like, hey, are they going to go 3-0 against Notre Dame, Florida on the road, and Arkansas? Maybe. And look, the low was a really bad offensive performance that got you in a game that you were tied with Notre Dame in with 2 minutes left. That's kind of exactly how I thought that game would go. I thought A&M would win it at home. I thought they'd get that big defensive stop with 5 minutes left and win that game. Kind of gone how I thought. Tough game against Arkansas. I thought the game against Florida would be a little tougher. That was probably the only mild surprise. I was surprised Bowling Green was as tough as it was. But to me, about what I've thought. But when I'm looking at like what they can accomplish this year, it's actually a little more out there for them than I maybe would have thought through 5 games. I would have thought Missouri was going to be a lot better. I think that game, I know A&M can lose it. They also can certainly win it. I think it's a coin flip of a game out there this Saturday. Really think Missouri's a lot better than what they've been showing. We'll see. With coming off a bye week too. But if they get that one, guys, I don't know. How do y'all view if they were to go out and win at 11 o'clock Saturday morning, going into a bye week with Mississippi State coming out on the other side and then LSU coming to Kyle Field, how are you guys feeling about where A&M would be at if they were able to get to 5-1 going at the midway point of the season with the top 10 win at home?
I think you should feel fantastic. And you look at that LSU matchup, it's a great offensive line, but we saw what South Carolina did. Your defensive line provides a matchup that's going to be a problem for anybody, and that's one that they had some issues with. And if your young quarterback continues to grow, I just think he's a better fit for the system. I think he's a better fit for what Colin Klein's done in his career. So that's why I asked the question.
I agree with you. No, it's gonna be interesting. This Saturday to me is it's a real turning point game because look, we know the Aggies haven't shown. I tell Aggies this all the time. I'm trying to say like they haven't shown anything yet to get people's attention outside of College Station. So don't get offended when there's not a lot of talk about the Ag. I mean, you guys talk about everybody every week. It's different. But, like, when you're not getting a vote in the poll or somebody doesn't mention you, like, this is the game. If you want all of that, this thrusts A&M back into the – not into the, just the into relevancy in terms of you'll start looking at the schedule and going, oh man, who knows? That game against Texas could actually end up being a pretty big one at the end of the year. And this would be a huge step towards making that happen, I feel like.
Absolutely. Billy, great stuff, man. Thanks for taking some time to join us today. Look forward to catching up soon.
All right, guys. Always. See y'all.
There you go. Billy Lucci with Texags talking a little A&M quarterback situation. Are you in the same boat that just kind of feels like the better fit?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, just for what Colin wants to be and how Colin probably is. I think their O-line's actually playing okay. I think they're playing pretty decent, relatively speaking. I think
they're getting better.
I think Arkansas is a movement team, so they're kind of hard to, they move a lot, so it's kind of tricky.
Landon Jackson, good player too.
Very good.
Zero had a really good game for Arkansas.
They're athletic now. They're pretty disrupted now. They get themselves out of control and out of position decent amount, but they do move. But yeah, I think that group collectively is better than what they've been.
Tell our listeners about B-Dry.
Well, B-Dry has been serving Alabama and customers here in Birmingham for more than 60 years. You can get the largest waterproofing company in the country to come to your house and get it taken care of, and they're going to back it up as long as that home is standing. A life with the structure warranty that you just won't. I mean, I think it's the strongest warranty in the business, strongest warranty you can possibly have. I don't know if you'll find it anywhere else. So that's why you got to go with B-Dry to get things taken care of. And they can stop all 5 ways that water can enter your foundation. And they're going to give you 12 months interest free. That's right, 12 months interest free and nothing to be concerned about as long as that structure is standing. So call B-Dry now to get the job done right with the best price and the strongest warranty at 942-1976 or visit bdryalabama.com.
All right, we'll take a break, come back. We've got playoffs today, and we say goodbye to a couple legends next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 9:45 a.m. Tuesday, October 1st, right here on Jocks 94.5. Greg, football season's here. The weather will cool off at some point in time. And our listeners can go get new pants when it does at the pants store.
Yeah, they do. Pants Store is your game day headquarters. They've been really taking care of the community by giving them access to some of the best brands like Horn, Legend, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, Genteel. Nobody does game day apparel quite like the Pants Store. Ladies, they have you game day ready as well. Head to toe. Hoka, New Balance, Western boots. Need a romper? Need a perfect dress? Well, Pants Store has you covered. Pants Store has tons of clear purses as well, so you can get right through security as quickly as can be. Free alterations, gift wraps, it's available. Zip on down to the Pants Store for all your game day needs.
All right, so we said goodbye to some legends yesterday. Unfortunately, two sports icons we lost. Dikembe Mutombo, 58 years old, passes away. I didn't even know he had brain cancer, honestly. I'm not sure how I missed that, didn't see that. 18 NBA seasons, Nuggets, Hawks, Sixers, Nets, Knicks, Rockets. One of the most lovable characters maybe in the history of sports, honestly. Like he was awesome. Awesome to watch. A guy that you almost could never pull against. You wanted to see him succeed. And then what he did for the Republic of Congo going back in his home country, things like that. Like he was an icon in basketball for a lot of different reasons. 20th in rebounds, 12,359, 3,289 blocks. Only Akeem Olajuwon has more. So a force to be reckoned with as well, specifically on defense. And just a sports icon you hate to see gone, G-Mac.
It's really a bummer. Just really, I mean, to be a guy that had that much personality, was a lot of fun, not great offensively by any stretch, but to really make a living defensively for as long as he did, and to be kind of an icon is a bummer. But like you said, more surprised seeing that come across the bottom line last night than anything.
And then also, I mean, in the world of pop culture, Mutombo as well.
Man does not fly in the house of Mutombo.
I think it was Adidas commercial?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Nobody jam in the land of Mutombo. Great ad campaign back in the day. Unfortunately, also Pete Rose passes away yesterday. You want to talk about an all-timer. 83 years old. Pete Rose, the all-time leader in hits, 4,256. Also, games played, 3,562. All-time, most ever. At-bats, most ever, 14,053. Second all-time in doubles, 746. Led the National League in hits 7 times. Games played 5 times. Doubles 5 times. Runs 4 times. Batting average 3 times. 44-game hit streak in 1978, tied for the second longest single season hitting streak in Major League Baseball history. Obviously, DiMaggio's 56, a record that I do not think will ever be broken. He appeared in 1,972 wins in his career. That is the most all-time. The most ever wins in Major League Baseball history. 1973 MVP, 1963 Rookie of the Year, 17-time All-Star, 3 World Series wins, 1 World Series MVP. He had 200 hits 10 times. Led the league in hits 7 times. Just unbelievable, the career that he had. We know what happened late, G-Mac, and unfortunately not in the Hall of Fame because he bet on baseball, and now a career that's marred in controversy. But as a player, not many going to be ahead of Pete Rose all time.
Yeah, I just think it's a bummer because I think as our society gets more and more comfortable with the gambling, let's just be real. It's no longer taboo. I mean, people participate. It's welcomed in some circles. So I'm not saying you have to condone it, but I just wish he would have been alive long enough to see himself get immortalized in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame personally. Not saying what he did wasn't wrong, but he paid a long price, and to never have survived long enough to potentially see that day happen is a little bit disappointing for me.
It is. Just to put it in perspective, 4,256 hits. You could average 200 hits a season for 20 years and you'd still come up short.
Hang on a
Think about
second.
that.
200 hits, 20 years. That's 4,000. Yeah, confirmed.
Well, not all of us can do math as fast as you. But just
20 times
to
200.
think about that in
You didn't have to
perspective.
call him out like that.
I mean, 200 hits is not easily obtainable in
It
Major
is
League Baseball.
insane. When you
20
really think about
straight
it.
years of that, and you would not have as many hits as Pete Rose.
Absolutely
That is just-
insane.
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
Insane.
All right, get to a break. Come back, close it out next on Mac and Cube in the morning. in McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Quickly, I want to tell you about Backyard Adventures. I was looking for a playground for my kids for a long time. Went to the big box scores, didn't have them. Bad box score coming in a minute. Backyard Adventures got me set up. Got the basketball goal as well. Warranty with that, so I don't have to worry about either one of them. If something were to break or go wrong, they're going to come out and repair it. Jeff and the guys going to take care of it. My experience with them has been great. The number one Backyard Adventures retailer in the world, Backyard Adventures. G-Mac, I know they've helped you out as well.
They have. Got the basketball goal. It's been great investment in the family. I know you guys will have a great time if you go down that route again with Backyard Adventures. So go see them off Cobb Valley Road, or you can always go online at backyardalabama.com.
408, the number 4 fun. Give them a call today. Your bad box score of the day, the Ferris State
Buellers
Bulldogs.
Oh.
Just snuck past the American International University
Patriots.
Yellow Jackets. Makes perfect sense. 84-7.
Whoa.
Over the weekend.
Nail biter.
It did come down to the wire. American International was 0 of 13 on third down.
That's where they got them.
That's Georgia-like.
They did throw for 128. Okay. Too bad they gave up 486 yards rushing.
Ground and pound.
On 50 carries, 9.7 per carry for Ferris State in a bad box score of the day. We're back tomorrow. 3-man front is next.